Boy, am I backlit. Oh, get the fuck out.
Oh, what'd you do?
I jammed it up too high.
Give him a boost.
There you go.
Did you hear that tampon story?
Yeah, that's gross.
Fuck! I gotta ask her, is that as gross to women as it is to men? I mean, is that, I don't know what the male equivalent would be.
I don't think there is one. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, what would the equivalent would be like taking one of your pleasure socks and turning it inside out and putting it in your buddy's sock drawer?
Yeah, I think so.
That's Saturday night, March 24th, dinner, a night at the museum, the John F. Kennedy.
Okay, my market report right now, the Dow is up 42 points, the Nasdaq is down 23, and the S&P is down less than a point. Gold is at 13.27 an ounce, oil at 60.68 a barrel. South High weather from KFI, some patchy fog still burning off this morning. We're also going to have some scattered showers throughout the day. Highs in the 60s around Metro LA and the beaches, around 70 in the Valley and OC. And it could hit the mid-70s in the IE. Later tonight, more rain in the forecast, lows dropping to the low to mid-50s, upper 40s in the IE. And tomorrow it's going to be partly cloudy and windy, so we're looking at 50s and 60s. Right now, 62 degrees, 63. Local, live from KFI's 24-hour newsroom. I'm on Rips.
Can you put my computer up? Yeah, I've got my master volume up and the volume up. I got both master and then the player volume both up. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. It is the Gary and Shannon show. Brian Suits filling in for Gary and Shannon. We were just having a heated discussion off air about the baby animal bracket. And a pretty intense anti-pangolin faction is rearing its ugly head. And I'm a little annoyed by that because that's the point of a bracket. If you want to be anti-pangolin, to nominate a different animal. Unnamed board op, who I'll call Mrake Doan. That is your last name. All right, President Trump is in the air as we speak. Steve Gregory is in San Diego as we speak. Steve Gregory for KFI News. KFI radio legend, by the way, I should mention. So are you at the Wall site or you're at Miramar, Marine Corps Air Station? So what's on the menu? He lands and he speaks to the assembled service members, or he lands and he motorcades to the beauty pageant for concrete?
And then when he's done there, he'll helicopter back.
I'll keep this off so you can hear Steve.
The air station, and then he'll make more comments before he gets on a plane at 3 o'clock to head back to LA for a fun.
So then he goes, blah, 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 beautiful wall, phenomenal wall, greatest wall ever. He gets on Air Force One at Miramar, and he comes up to apparently Santa Monica Airport, but evidently. But have they even revealed that? They're being pretty tight-fisted on this. Oh, that's huge because that avoids Santa Monica Boulevard for what, like 5 miles or something. That's actually pretty damn courteous for 4 p.m. in Los Angeles.
Well, they learned that with one of the last visits to President Obama. Before what they were doing, they would land at LAX up near the executive terminal, and then they would motorcade all the way up the 405.
Oh my God, I know.
Yeah, but you gotta understand.
And also keep in mind that he was mainly affecting Democrats. So I'm actually kind of surprised. I'm surprised that Trump has not suggested actually landing Air Force One directly on 405 and then leaving it there and then helicoptering up to Sepulveda Pass and then motorcading on Mulholland. And also put a Patriot missile battery on Gwyneth Paltrow's lawn or something. And Trump would say, hey, national security. And then, so evidently, then Trump is actually spending the night in Beverly Hills. So it's not going to be a reverse motorcade at 11 p.m. or anything, I guess. Probably 7:30 a.m. at the height of the morning commute. So it's got breasts. Go ahead. I was interrupting.
Yeah.
And then where are the saltwater tanks for the sharks? The saltwater tanks for the sharks. Well, they must not have read closely the request for the RFPs, the request for proposal on this. Yes.
You know,
And this is not, he's not going to name a winner. He's just looking at, this is not part of the event.
And
So they are equally weighing the bathing suit with the talent with the questions. Okay. All right. Well, Steve Gregory is on the scene. We'll check in with you maybe this time next hour as he says Trump is circling. When he'll apparently, so wheels down approximately 11:30. All right. Steve Gregory there in the Southland where KFI rules, by the way. So Steve, stay safe, drink water. All right, there he goes. Well, we'll take a break, come back and talk a little bit more about this and how our lieutenant governor is throwing a poopy. Your chance to win $1,000 is coming up, brought to you by Cutting Detail. Bleeding gums? Call Cutting Detail for a free exam, 888-640-SMILE. Keep listening. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. Gary and Shannon Show. Monica Rick says the news.
Officers who shot and killed an unarmed man in Van Nuys. He'd thrown a beer.
It said Chris has the news, but I scratched that out because it's Monica Ricks. Because I think on my feet like that. That's how I do that. And look at this one. Also, Chris has the news. No, Chris doesn't have the news. No, you cannot see. Air Force One does not send out an ADS-B signal when it travels. So if you have Plane Finder, you cannot see it. If you have Flight Aware, you cannot see it. Oh, look at that. We got rain coming in. There's rain in the valley, everybody. So I am the blue dot. And yeah, Air Force One does not show up on that deal. I'm getting used to being on at this time. Can you put me in queue and we'll see what's up?
Yeah!
Okay, I found the source of the problem. It's all solved. Well, I can't say write that email, and I can't see don't write that email. And I certainly won't say don't write that email. In fact, I might say go ahead and write that email. I heard a rumor, by the way. Let me hear my voicemail real quick.
Hey man, it's Daniel Friday. I'm on the way to the airport. I'm getting up out of this venue. If Trump's coming to town, I'm leaving town. I'm on my way to and I wonder where he is going to be tonight. He's certainly not welcome anywhere in my neighborhood. But I haven't heard about his coordinates or where he's staying or anything. So I'll be curious to know what happened with Trump in L.A. The big orange alert. Anyway, keep me posted.
Interesting. I didn't know that Trump is actually pretty tight with Larry King. And Larry King has a hangout every morning. Larry King has a Beverly Hills deli that he goes to. And if you know what it is, then
Own windows.
there might be a Trump sighting there tomorrow.
Industry, one customer at a time. It's March Mania. For a limited time, you choose how much you're going to save on your new windows. Combine any two of the following offers: a free upgrade to the sound package, free upgrade to the Delmar series, free installation, or no payments, no interest for 12 whole months. CSLB number 778326 cannot be combined with any other offer. Some restrictions apply, and the offer expires on March 31st of this year. AmericanVisionWindows.com. Call 888-319-8585. Just pick two of those four offers. 888-319-8585. 888-319-8585. You look to sports and movies, award shows as an escape, right? And instead, you're scolded and lectured for 4 hours. 4 hours about stuff that you've never done in your life. Who wants that? Why don't you want to spend a Sunday night listening to that? Sean again. Today at 640.
KFI AM 640 more stimulating talk. The Gary and Shannon Show. Brian Suits filling in. If you're looking to win some money, listen up, everybody.
Shot at $1,000 now. Text the keyword bills to 200-200. Text confirming entry plus iHeartRadio info. Standard data and messaging rates apply. That's bills to 200-200.
Bills. So that means if you're in the know, then you know what to do. Answer the phone, even if it's from a number that you don't recognize. Your next chance to win is next hour. You have a chance to win $1,000 once an hour, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday here on KFI. So listen up for next hour. But in the meantime, answer the darn phone. Darn you all to heck. Well, so there, keep in mind, Trump, regardless of what Hollywood says out loud about Donald Trump, especially when he's close to their front yards, there are loads and loads and loads of people who are friends with Donald Trump who live in Hollywood, but they tend to be transplants from the East Coast who now are making their living here in Los Angeles, and I heard a rumor from, there's a friend of mine who lives across the street from a very, very famous, prominent animator slash director slash movie star. He writes his own movies that he directs when he's not doing his animated series, right? So anyway, my friend's getting out of town for business, but he said the word is to get out of town, because I was wondering what house in Beverly Hills would actually host Trump, because you would be a pariah in that neighborhood. And not only because, you know, there's going to be all these town cars there and people are going to be Ubering to it and the whole thing, but because you'd be outing yourself as a Trumpalo. So who would actually do it? And someone gave me a heads up on that who would do it is a longtime friend of Trump's. And not only that, but Trump is spending the night in Beverly Hills, and that tomorrow, prior to getting out, keep in mind, Trump is on East Coast time. So 5 a.m. is nothing to Trump. 5 a.m. is 8 a.m. to Trump. And that the word is, and if I can be more specific later on before 2 p.m. I will, but the word is that the friend of Trump, who, not the guy who's hosting the dinner, but the longtime friend of Trump, who you would know, is going to take him to a famous deli in Beverly Hills tomorrow. And that the deli is being prepped for a presidential walkthrough at 6 a.m. or something like that. So that would just be curious, because he is a man of the people. And when you're a man of the people, you go through a deli in Beverly Hills and you just rub elbows with the randos, with the salt of the earth. Speaking of salt of the earth, Gavin Newsom, and also coming back here in a little bit, I don't know if the Democratic National Committee President Tom Perez has a hotline to Hillary Clinton, but she effectively gave Trump his campaign commercial for 2020 yesterday. She was speaking to a Congress of Indian Americans about Indian success in America, and she broke down her reasons for not winning the presidential election as she sees it. So we'll play that for you here in just a second. But your lieutenant governor is running for the governor of the state of California, and he does these animations that he voices. This is him doing VO, as we say in the business, or voice over. And so this is Gavin's anti-Trump screed, and I tweeted it out. It's a cute little animation, but it's mainly a series of ad hominem attacks and bad economics.
It's official. Donald Trump finally. Let's get real. Donald Trump's border wall is a monument to idiocy. A 1,900-mile waste of taxpayer money. And newsflash, is impossible to complete. Rivers, mountains, tribal and private land, and countless other obstacles make the wall more like a Swiss cheese than an insurmountable barrier. The wall will not secure our border.
By the way, a woman on a ladder with a baby on her back Trump jumps up and he knocks the ladder backwards, but there's a woman with a baby on her back trying to get over the Trump wall. In other words, she's trying to cross illegally into the United States, but Trump knocks the ladder down. And then, by the way, and I don't know, Producer Nick, did you actually did you watch this entire thing? Did you notice that the president of Mexico, which is supposed to be Peña Nieto, he doesn't look like Peña Nieto. Do you see who it looks like? It looks a lot like Gavin Newsom. Totally the hair. He's got the Gordon Gekko hair and his defiant stance, but it doesn't look like and what's his name? Enrique Peña Nieto. But so anyway, Trump hands Peña Nieto a bill, and Peña Nieto tears it up. You heard that. You heard that right. A federal law enforcement agency, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Yeah, you get out of here. There goes Shannon. Is a personal army of hate. So if you're a federal law enforcement agent in ICE, you thought you were in a federal agency. No, you're an army of hate. So we'll be back. Does he think that if you're on the fence about Gavin Newsom, this is what makes you jump on the other side? I'll play you the big economic epiphany in this one, unless you're actually an economist, and this won't make sense. When we come back, Gavin and Hillary providing Trump some commercials, some fodder for 2020. Back right after this, it is the Gary and Shannon Show. Brian Suit filling in KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk. Monica Ricks for the news.
LA County health officials have issued a cold weather alert.
You know you're allowed to breathe during your lockout, right?
Wind chill temperatures are expected to be below freezing through Friday in the AV and starting tomorrow through Friday in the mountains. The state's clouds have jumped to almost
Is anyone at work? Where are you guys watching this, by the way? Are you on mobile devices? I can see in the Google Analytics. I mean, YouTube Analytics.
Added more than $1 billion to the CalPERS payouts. One of the biggest drivers of these costs is, of course, the considerable enhancement.
What time does the tournament start today? The win and games are today.
Members are now retiring. He says that means new retirees are getting a lot higher pensions than older generations. The state's
Okay, so who's furthest away? Jim is in Idaho. Is anyone further away than Idaho?
Andrew Mullenbeck, KFI News.
Rex Tillerson is on his way out as Secretary of State.
Can you beat Idaho?
That he'll nominate the head of the CIA, Mike Pompeo, to take over the State Department.
Gold Bar. You know what? You mean off Highway 2, that Gold Bar by Sultan?
Late last year, the White House chief of staff
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're...
Tillerson with Pompeo. The Times did note that at the time, the president hadn't put out the plan yet. The White House has fired.
Oh, so Anders is probably closest if you're on Olive Avenue. Spanky Bear is in Gold Bar, Washington, on the banks of the Skycomish River. Do you work for Boeing Everett? But Jim is in Idaho, so I'm gonna let me see. And I'm gonna use Google Maps as a tiebreaker on this one.
Well, let me first say that the only part of this that I understand that you wanted to hiss was
Columbus, Ohio. How do you prove that? Philip Berlowitz is in Columbus, Ohio. How? I'll do it by hours. Gold Bar, Washington.
Students and free speech advocates in UCLA released it Friday, only saying Mnuchin gave his okay. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
Would you want to talk to Ryan Burrow about these Austin, Texas
Yeah,
bombs?
yeah, definitely.
Okay, 11:30 or
What? Yeah, whatever.
1? We do 11:30.
Okay.
Or
Well,
do you want to get back into Trump stuff? We'll probably.
we'll talk to Steve at 11:20 or something.
Did you tell him you want to talk to him again?
Well, next hour.
Okay, maybe 11:30. We'll talk to Steve.
Yeah.
11:30 we could talk to Steve. 12:20 we could do Texas bombs.
18 hours, 4 minutes to get to Gold Bar. Now let's see, Nampa, Idaho.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah. If he is that his so he's 11:30 or nothing, you mean?
Well, I don't know. I can ask him. I mean, where would you rather put Steve? At the 20 or?
Probably, let's do 11:30 for Steve, and only 12 hours, 13 hours to get to Nampa.
Okay.
So Gold Bar wins.
Okay.
Yeah, because Air Force One is usually spot on. If they say 11:30, it's going to land, right at 11:30.
Yeah.
So we'll talk to Steve at 11:30.
Okay.
We'll talk about the.
You want to do bombs at 12:20?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or 11. Can you do 11?
Or 11?
Yeah, let's do top of the
what's
air.
his window? Let me see here. 11. So that puts him at 2. No, his window starts at 3.
Oh, so that's
Eastern
noon.
time. Yeah. That's when his window starts.
All right, let's do them at noon because that'll be trending.
Well, yeah. Well, we could do trending stories at 12:05, and then we could have him at 12:20.
Okay. And you put that. Yeah. And what is that event? She was in India, and it's like the Indian American trade something or other.
Yeah, I gotta find the story. But it almost looked like a TED thing with like these big screens in the back.
And apply my recommendation, which is kind of nice. His credentials are superb. Harvard Medical School, tens of thousands of top of the line.
So apparently Trump is going to be at Nate and Al's in Beverly Hills, which is a famous old deli in Beverly Hills, with Larry King. Trump goes way back with Larry King, and he considers Larry, you know, a really good guy, and the whole thing. And so that's the word, that he's going to do an early morning, you know, meet and greet, walkthrough of Nate and Al's with Larry King tomorrow.
The holidays may be over, but it's never too late to make a resolution to work smarter. That's where the revolutionary EcoTank 4750 wireless all-in-one from Epson. The ET4750 means smart, aka hassle-free, worry-free, and cartridge-free printing. No last-minute panic when a project or assignment is due tomorrow and you're suddenly out of ink cartridges. The EcoTank 4750 offers completely cartridge-free printing, featuring easy-to-fill, space-saving, integrated, super-sized ink tanks with up to 2 years of ink in the box for up to 11,000 pages. That's about 30 ink cartridge sets, meaning you'll spend about $1,500 if you had to buy them yourself, but you don't. Feeling smarter yet? Well, get this.
Madame, je...
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. It is the Gary and Shannon Show. Brian Suits filling in for Gary and Shannon. And a reboot of Weekend at Bernie's happening in India. A private visit by Hillary Clinton provides some embarrassing footage for Hillary. But anyway, back to Gavin Newsom. Now, as background, you'll recall, and economists will point this out, that the change in the way the pattern of illegal immigration occurred in the mid-'80s, when amnesty was first provided, means that more and more illegal aliens come here and stay here, as opposed to the way it used to be, where they would come as families and they would work in orchards in Washington and then Oregon and then California as the fall went on, and then they would go back home for 6 months with a lot of cash. And obviously that was a symbiotic relationship. Everybody benefited, but it benefited because they went back home to Mexico. And there was a time in California when a roofer or a drywaller, a blue-collar worker, could pay for a house and send his kids to college. Blue-collar jobs in California were livable wages. They were not minimum wage. But what happened? Well, there was a flood of cheap labor. What do you think happens when there's a flood of cheap labor? Wages are driven down. Did anyone pay attention in Economics 101? Well, evidently, one baseball player at Santa Clara University, is it Santa Clara State or University UC Santa Clara? I forgot. Anyway, Gavin Newsom, or Lieutenant Governor, apparently, was busy throwing batting practice at that point because he has a problem with deporting illegal aliens.
It's official. Donald Trump finally...
I'm sorry, we're now the part. So again, this is the animation that he put up. This is his argument for why you should vote for him as governor.
Trump is trying to turn ICE into his own personal army of hate.
So ICE is the army of hate, and now ICE starts splitting apart families. Men and women are being torn apart by 2 different ICE agents.
By more than doubling arrests of non-criminal immigrants. Trump is using ICE to tear apart families and pursuing a strategy experts call cruel, unjust...
And then, by the way, in the background, Trump stands up and snaps his fingers in front of a banner that says, "Make America White Again."
And pursuing a strategy experts call cruel, unjust, and economic suicide. Deporting 11 million undocumented immigrants would take away 5% of our country's workforce.
Ah, so you're saying that if they were deported, there would be a 5% shortage in either low skill or construction skilled jobs. What do you think that would do for wages, Gavin?
Would take away 5% of our country's workforce and cost taxpayers more than $400 billion. We can't.
And again, he denies the cost of illegal aliens, even here in California, saying that somehow that somehow losing 5% of the workforce would cost $400 billion, as opposed to raising wages, reducing unemployment of American citizens who now are making a wage and paying taxes. So anyway, he's as much of an economic genius as the actual governor, Jerry Brown.
$1 billion. We can't let this small, scared bully hurt our economy by terrorizing innocent people. Together, let's keep pushing his hate out of our state.
Get out, hate. So there you go. And then his roaring bear logo. So again, this is not designed for people who can be swayed by a rational argument. These are people who are already going to vote for Gavin Newsom. That's how that works. That's how it works for Gavin. So meanwhile, at the other end, and again, this is where I don't want to do the Democrats' jobs for them. But I was saying this 2 years ago when the way the Democrats reacted when Trump became the nominee, the way they reacted virtually guaranteed that he would be elected. They did as much for Trump as Trump did. I mean, you could have simply taken some of the quotes from Hillary and run them in commercials. And in fact, she shot herself in the foot with bucket of deplorables. Or was it sustainable basket? I forgot, but it was bucket of deplorables. Sustainable woven basket. Yes, made of reeds. Have you heard of it? Or do you just go and, do you buy grocery bags or do you bring your own every time? How many polar bears have choked on those because of you? They swim around out there in the ocean. Oh, well, that's what I was asking. You bring, well, like, what do you mean as other things? Like parachutes? Well, if Hillary had said sustainable basket of deplorables, probably it would have had far less impact. But she had to say bucket of deplorables. So again, here in 2018, and by the way, some of the footage for the Trump, just keep this in mind. All of you Trump haters, as you're putting on your padded pants and you're getting your gas masks for later on today, whatever you do today on Sunset or Wilshire or wherever his route goes from the VA to this fundraiser, whatever you do is going to be in a Trump commercial. Because do you understand that the people who voted for Trump overwhelmingly think everybody in California is, 2 arrows short of a quiver, okay? They already think that you're a coastal elite nutbag and that you're coddling illegal aliens. And they also think that most of you are illegal aliens. And you're going to go there and try to block his motorcade. And by the way, here's a pro tip for you protest organizers for approximately 3 p.m. today on Santa Monica. If one of your party is literally waving a Mexican flag, you might want to have them roll that baby up. Because, man, if I were a Trump campaign manager and I saw footage of people waving Mexican flags on the lawn of the Veterans Administration of the United States of America, that would be front and center on my next commercial. Either that or Hillary Clinton in India. So we'll play that for you when we come back. But I am predicting tear gas by 4 p.m., an LAPD TAC alert, and arrests. I'm saying arrests. And you know what? People will scream as they're getting arrested as well. But it's all going to happen. It's been building up for a year. Trump hasn't come here for a reason. I think the reason he has not come up here is to let this build to critical mass because he needs footage for his re-election campaign. And you morons are going to fall right into his hands. Back right after this. It's the Gary and Shannon Show. Brian Suits filling in on KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk. Monica Ricks with the news. I'm conflicted. Should I pee and get it out of the way, or should I continue drinking coffee? Luckily, I happen to have a urinal right here. I'm kidding. I got bad news for you, Trevor. He will be reelected by the same people that voted for him the first time, by the way. See this? This is my briefcase.
See, that's what I do. I'll like carry stuff in them. But I'm not gonna lie, Ralph's plastic bags are the best.
Yeah, well, these
Yeah.
too.
From the Northeast Honda weather center, rainy and cool all day today. Highs in the 60s around Metro LA and beaches into the 70s everywhere else. More rain to forecast later tonight around the upper 40s and 50s. Southbound weather brought to you by Uber. Traffic from the Help of SoCal Honda Traffic Center. Now there's a crash in Sherman Oaks on the 101. It's on the 101 southbound right before the 405. Up on the center divider, so technically it's not in the way, but it is attracting a little bit of attention. The southbound side of the 101 backed up from Haskell, northbound side is a little bit slow as well. And then in Toluca Lake on the 134 eastbound side at Boinga, still have the right lane blocked. Well, they fixed the guardrail because of an earlier crash. That has some minor delays there, backed up from the 4 to 170 split. Also, Sherman Oaks 405 southbound, that is from just before the 101 of about Victory Boulevard through the pass, seeing a little light rain through the pass area, and it's going to be slowed down towards Getty Center. This report is brought to you by Cleveland Brothers. Okay, on the side, I'll get you there faster. I'm Rose Dunn.
Delicious, exciting inside. This is the world of culinary tours, a full line of locally inspired foods available exclusively at your local Stater Brothers. Find culinary tours across the store and start your tasty adventure today. Stater Brothers, where you always get more for less.
Cranberry, cranberry, healthy cereal for your family.
Okay, kiddos, breakfast is served.
Yay!
Sugar cereal again, Dad, and you are here to switch your cereal with cranberry cereal with onyx sorghum, a special grain that's better than whole grain oats or wheat alone.
But does it have flavor?
Tons, plus more antioxidants than any other cereal, fruit, or vegetable.
Antioxidants?
You're...
Look for cranberry cereals with amazing onyx sorghum. Cranberry, cranberry. Hey, it's Jennifer Jones-Lee, and recently I used TaskEasy to take care of my lawn, and I can't say enough great things about them. TaskEasy was so easy to use. I got a fair quote based on the square footage of my lawn. Then they sent a reliable and insured landscaper to my home. TaskEasy even sent me before and after photos when the work was finished. So if you're looking for someone to take care of your lawn, someone other than yourself, take advantage of this. Go to TaskEasy.com and enter promo code Jennifer, and you'll get $10 off your first 3 mows. That's promo code Jennifer on TaskEasy.com.
When no handle is faced with a business or real estate dispute, he immediately calls the law firm of Kushner, Carlson, and Associates. I'm attorney Michael Kushner, and we are well known for our psychotically aggressive approach to litigation. Call 800-927-2700 or visit KushnerCarlson.com. Are you a type 2 diabetic? Then get to the free Reverse Your Diabetes Lunch Seminar coming to Newport Beach Saturday, March 24th. With your type 2 diabetes, are you tired of trying different diets, exercise programs, medications, only to be told by your doctor that you can go and get one more medication? Well, so were the multiple patients that went to Next Advanced Medicine at MDPC practice, where they finally learned an individualized approach to reverse their type 2 diabetes. Anna was diabetic for 14 years, taking 105 units of insulin a day. In just 3 weeks, she was able to get off all her insulin, and now no longer diabetic. Raul was diabetic for 5 years on 10 medications. His A1C was 9.4. Now he's off all meds, A1C down to 5.6, no longer diabetic. Diabetes is taking 200 lives every day. Don't you owe it to yourself and your family to turn this disease around before it's too late? You got to get to the free Reverse Your Diabetes Lunch Seminar coming to Newport Beach Saturday, March 24th. All you got to do is make a reservation on your cell phone. Dial pound 250 and use the keyword diabetes. That's pound 250 on your cell and just say diabetes. We're here for 1-800-GOT-JUNK to clean out your garage.
The radio ads say all we have to do is point.
The radio speaks the truth, ma'am. Give it a try.
When you fight your way to that refrigerator back there, it's gone.
Now it's my turn, honey. I've really been dreading trying to move that big. I would never have believed it. All you have to do is point. We work until midnight, 7 days a week. So you never have to take off work to meet us. Just call 1-800-GOT-JOHN or visit 1-800-GOTJOHN.com.
Do you have dental problems, toothache, leaking gums, loose or missing teeth? Dental problems can cause all sorts of serious health issues. Call Cutting Dental for a free exam, including x-rays or a CT scan. Call 888-640-SMILE, 888-640-SMILE.
What do you want to be when you retire? You need a plan because you're likely to live a lot longer than you think, thanks to medical technology. But technology is also threatening your job. So now, more than ever, you need to make sure you're preparing properly for the future. Come learn how at our brand new seminar. You'll learn how to stay employable in this age of automation and protect yourself and your kids from the costs. Also, how to invest your money.
Steve isn't sure if he can do 11:30 yet, so it's pending.
Okay.
He doesn't know what what security is going to be like because he's waiting there at the airbase now.
So he cannot do.
He's not sure yet. He just said depending. Depends. So I'll call him around 11:20.
Yeah, the original was 4 lads.
With type 2 diabetes, a lower A1C
how much time
is
do we
a
have?
lot about choices.
Oh.
I'll push the bracket too.
No, you get the bumper. I don't want this bumper now. Yeah, you get it. Well, actually, I will get it. I'm just going to play this because Chris Little's going to Turkey, so I have a bumper for him.
Istanbul was Constantinople, now it's Istanbul, not Constantinople. Been a long time gone, old Constantinople, still it's Turkish delight on a moonlit night.
KFI AM 648, more stimulating talk. It is the Gary and Shannon show. Brian Suits filling in for Gary and Shannon. And we just found out that a member of the KFI family is going to go on vacation to Istanbul. So he's whoever it is, the unnamed person, is soliciting travel tips. So if you want to reply at Dark Secret Place. My travel tip to Turkey is that it is safe. You're fine in Istanbul. You're absolutely fine. You can wear shorts. Yeah, women should probably wear pants, but if you don't leave Istanbul, you're fine. My one pro tip for going to Turkey that I just passed on to the unnamed interim individual is literally don't make fun of any of the statues. It is not an obscure law. It's a often enforced law in Turkey. You cannot mock statues, especially if it's a statue of Kemal Ataturk, the founder of modern-day Turkey. But as an American, there's one really funny feature of every one of those statues. Whenever that individual, Ataturk, is on a horse, for some reason the Turks feel the need to emphasize the horse's virility, shall we say, or something. And you have a couple, and you're taking pictures of the statue, and you can't help but notice that it's like Rex, the 5-legged horse. But it's a quick way to spend an hour in a police station. So anyway, heads up to unnamed KFI family member. Don't do that. That's my advice. All right. So if Hillary Clinton was being paid to provide fodder for a Trump re-election commercial, she could not do any better than what she did in India yesterday. She was in New Delhi, not Mumbai. And that's my favorite Larry King question. When did it become Mumbai? It's always been Bombay. You can still call your gin Bombay, though. You don't have to call it Mumbai. So she's in New Delhi at this like Indian American reach out TED Talky kind of thing. And so everyone in the audience, as most people do in India, speaks English. And Hillary is talking about what segments of America she won and who it was that voted for Trump. So again, if you're a Trump campaign official and you need audio, because yes, guess what? In 2020, Trump will still be running against Hillary Clinton. Whoever the Democratic nominee is, he'll still be running against Hillary Clinton. So you just can't do better than these 45 seconds.
If you look at the map of the United States, there's all that red in the middle where Trump won. Now, I win the coasts, I win, Illinois and Minnesota, places like that. But what the map doesn't show you is that I won the places that represent 2/3 of America's gross domestic product. So I won the places that are optimistic, diverse, dynamic, moving forward, and his whole campaign, Make America Great Again, was looking backwards. You didn't like black people getting rights, you don't like women, getting jobs, you don't want to, see that Indian American succeeding more than you are. Whatever your problem is,
pander.
I'm going to solve it.
Yeah, so, it doesn't get more pandery than this.
Women, getting jobs, you don't want to, see that Indian American succeeding more than you are. Whatever your problem is, I'm going to solve it.
Yes, you Indian Americans. And let me just reiterate my full-throated support for your gambling establishments, by golly. So that is, do you hear a word of that you wouldn't want to put in a commercial? She went on to say,
I hope that more people learn about Turkey.
And that confused everyone. But so again, hear this out. See where you fall into this. Of course, we're coastal elites, so we don't count. And we all know that if you're a Republican and you even check the box in 2016 for who was president and you're in California, you know that you literally just wasted that wrist movement in doing that because you know where the hell you are. But meanwhile, for Wisconsin, which she didn't visit, she did not visit Wisconsin during her campaign. But for that huge, and by the way, if you're a liberal in Michigan, how do you like learning this, that you're now in a giant red bubble?
If you look at the map of the United States, there's all that red in the middle where Trump won. Now, I win the coasts, I win, Illinois and Minnesota, places like that. But what the map doesn't show you is that I won the places that represent 2/3 of America's gross domestic product. So I won the places that are optimistic, diverse, dynamic, moving forward, and his whole campaign, Make America Great Again, was looking backwards.
Yeah, so that would be news to Texas, which continues to have one of the largest growth rates, people moving in, sales tax. They don't have a state income tax, so the metric is sales tax. So that would be news to all the tech businesses moving to Texas, by the way, fleeing California. And even within this state, the bluest blue part is hemorrhaging high tech. The bluest blue part of this state, which I suppose you could say would be the very top of Nob Hill in San Francisco, and then going down to Silicon Valley. They are fleeing. They're leaving. And part of the reason is because this state has become so double-tiered that there is a tier. Never mind what Bernie says about the American economy. The model of it, the caricature is right here in California. You have a tier of ultra-high earning tech and entertainment industry and financial industry, very, very wealthy people. You have, as Schwarzenegger pointed out, 1% of the state paying 50% of the state tax revenue. And then you have the other 99% paying the other 50%, if you do pay state taxes at all. And so you get this third world disparate economic spread here in California. No one ever addresses that. Gavin won't talk about that. He'll talk about the income gap in the rest of the country, but not the income gap here in California, which the income gap in California has far more to do with ancient Egypt than it does with a modern capitalist economy. Far, far more. Either you're the pharaoh, or you're one of the pharaoh's leg humpers, or you're over there making bricks. And that's California. And that's because we've allowed an unlimited stream of cheap labor to come in. We used to not be ancient Egypt. We used to be sort of, a high-tech agrarian America. People forget that we are the nation's, the fruit, everything is grown in the Central Valley. But we don't talk about that anymore. We'll be back right after this. We will also we'll give you some early leaders here on the baby animal bracket for Gary and Shannon. If it is an infant animal and it's cute, or even if it's not cute, go to the Gary and Shannon page at KFIAM640.com. I'm still pulling for baby pangolin. It is cute. Sorry that it has armor scales, but it's cute. And we'll revisit this here in just a second. KFI AM640, more stimulating talk.
Is that your top pick?
Yeah, I don't think you've seen the really young ones. They have like a porcupine face. I'll button this up. I'm not trying to be a scumbag. This was at the San Fernando Target, and I got it because it's ironic. See, it's the Giants logo. Go Giants! Together we are giant, but it's blue and white like the Doyers. So that's why. I'll mute the microphone because Blake has not given me his permission to be on the live stream. I am unmuting the microphone. Unmuting the microphone.
Nick.
Unmuted.
Hot mic. 97.1. Have you ever heard? You know, it was Carson Daly's show in the morning.
No.
Well, they have a new one.
Isn't that Jack?
No,
that's 93.
That's 93 one.
Oh.
It's
97.1. Didn't Conway used to be on that?
I don't know.
KLSX?
Yeah, I don't know what KLSX used to be.
I think that's 93.
But anyways, it's a CBS station. It's right next door to K-Rock. But anyways, they have a new morning show, and they did a similar thing in the morning. They have a girl on their show, and two people applied to date her on Hinge or whatever.
KMET.
She was talking. I don't know. She was talking to some people, and the listeners got to vote on which guy she went out with.
Yeah, you don't do who am I going to date over the air. That's a quick.
She narrowed it down to two guys that she liked both of them. So it was not going to hurt her as bad because she had it narrowed down.
That's a great way to wind up a headless torso in the desert, though. Unless that's your goal. Tactical use of blue and green light. It is this. In reality, in a tactical environment, you never use red light because, unknown fun fact, night vision can see red light. You're not invisible to anything but naked eye half a mile away. In night vision, red light shows up like white light, like regular white light. The only spectrum of light that's invisible to night vision is blue light. And that's why, for instance, medevac, Humvee, Army and Marine Corps tracked ambulances have blue lights on the inside. So, and also green lasers are not good with night vision either. But blue light is invisible to night vision. So that's why you always want to use blue light. If your enemy has night vision, you use blue light. One of the problems is that in the military, the maps are marked red light readable. And there's really nothing you can do about that. So there's no red on the map, in other words, because red would be invisible in red light. Like for instance, infrared lasers are not available to civilians, but I always used an infrared laser because the implication there is if you're using an aiming laser, you're going to be using night vision. You don't ever use a red laser in combat because you may as well, you've just shown the enemy where you are. Okay, lasers like bullets go both ways. So you don't use a red laser and you don't use a green laser. You use an infrared laser. And anytime I ever designated a target for a helicopter, I used an infrared laser and I lassoed the target until the pilot saw the basket I was making with my laser or cone. We called it lassoing. And when they called the target, I could then pinpoint. And I would put the laser right on the window where the sniper was. And so infrared lasers, and also I had a thing called a CGP-1, a Commander's Ground Pointer 1. And it's an infrared laser, and it's like a 200 milliwatt laser, and it literally has a 10-kilometer range. So I could sit here in Burbank, and I could laze the Burbank sign with a narrow beam. So we always use infrared lasers. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. It is the Gary and Shannon Show. Brian Suits in here until 2 p.m. when the entire S show starts to happen. The rain comes in, the Trump comes in. The only good news for those of you thinking that you're actually going to affect policy by blocking Trump's motorcade is that at least your tears will wash away the tear gas as well as some of the rain. So you got that coming for you. But I'll give you more pro tips. If you want to appear in a Trump re-election campaign commercial, and I can only assume that you do if you're going to protest him when he's in Westwood, going to a fundraiser, then I'll give you some pro tips on how to guarantee you make it into a commercial, probably played in Iowa in about a year. Who knows? You might have your viral moment. We'll talk about the latest out of the spy poisoning in the UK. It's a much bigger story than you're seeing in the news. But then again, of course, why would it be bigger? Because Rex Tillerson was fired. And I tweeted out last night around 10 p.m. when Rex Tillerson made a statement supporting Prime Minister Theresa May, saying that it was in all probability a Russian assassination assassination attempt that was made last Sunday in Britain, in Salisbury, Britain. My only reaction was, what a spectacular way to resign. And that was about 8 hours ago. And let me find it for you verbatim. All right, it was this: Zeke Miller aboard a U.S. government aircraft. Zeke Miller, AP State Department reporter. He said this: Tillerson says ex-spies poisoning in UK, quote, clearly came from Russia, and it will trigger a response, close quote. And my response was, what a spectacular way to resign. And 8 hours later, he's fired. And the reason he was fired was because Tillerson has been about 10 to 20 degrees off keel from the Trump administration for the last couple months. Yesterday, Sarah Huckabee Sanders made a statement during the White House press briefing that was not a full-throated support and confirmation that the findings out of Britain were concurred by the United States intelligence community, though they are, in fact. Theresa May, the British Prime Minister, yesterday she said, our intelligence agencies and scientific community are now of one mind that the poison used to attempt to kill this man, former Russian spy Sergei Skripal, and his daughter, originated in Russia. And so, and this is what she said, that until that Moscow has till midnight tonight to either account for why it was used to attempt to assassinate the guy, or have they lost track of their own stockpiles. She gave Moscow two choices, that there's only two possibilities. And so Tillerson was on Greenwich Mean Time, and he didn't consult with the White House. The White House came out and said that there is developing evidence, and the British have reached a conclusion. The United States has not seen the confirmation or confirmatory evidence, and so we are not prepared to make that same statement, which was shocking, because when the British came down and said, absolutely positively, this is what this stuff is, the United States usually says, whatever you say, whatever, ever since the Falklands, it's ever since the end of World War II, except for 1956, the Suez Crisis. Otherwise, when Britain says, this is a hybrid of VX gas that only exists in Russian arsenals, period, Russian intelligence arsenals. And our entire intelligence community is of one mind on this. That's what it is. The U.S. usually says, absolutely, whatever you say is true. You say you own the Falklands, we agree. Argentina is a longtime ally, but F them. You guys are the United Kingdom. You're England. We're on your side on this one. We are picking a side, and it's you. You're going to win back the Falklands. That's how we are. I mean, that got kinetic. We picked a side in a war in 1982. And so now, for the White House to come out and sort of him and haw was a bit unusual. But for the Secretary of State to not be on the same page was way unusual, and it cost him his job. And there was the word that the guy was on his way out anyway for the last couple months. A friend of mine on Twitter pointed out that he's kind of glad Rex Tillerson is gone, because Rex Tillerson always looked right through the TV screen at him as if he had disappointed him somehow. He was always a bit of a scold. The Onion had two great headlines this morning. One of them was, fired Secretary of State, surprised to find out he still worked for the Department of State. And then the next headline was, last adult in Trump administration nicknamed Mad Dog. So there we go. I don't know that Rex Tillerson was that adult. And to be dead honest with you, I think he was a flawed pick from the get-go. I don't understand why he took the job, and I don't know who nominated him. And I mean, I thought Trump went back 20 years with the dude. I had no clue. I didn't know that Trump barely knew him. And someone said, Rex Tillerson, the ex-CEO of Exxon. He's been around the world. He's cut deals in Moscow. He's thick as thieves with Russian natural gas, the whole thing. Well, a lot of good that did. I mean, he did not seem up to speed on a bunch of crucial things. Like, if you're unaware of this, there's kind of a looming crisis in the South China Sea. China actually thinks it's theirs just because it's called the South China Sea. It's not the South Oregon Sea. It's the South China Sea. Tillerson, not very familiar on that, but I will say at least he was a quick learner. he was read up on things. Also, the State Department, if you don't know this, there's a bunch of crucial ambassadorships that haven't been filled. Some of them are being held up by Congress, but some of them are fast-tracked. Like, I don't know, ambassador to South Korea. That'd be kind of handy right now, but that has been unfilled for a year and a half. Speaking of unfilled, the baby animal brackets are up at KFIAM640.com, Gary and Shannon page. And again, I'm not that I'm trying to put my thumb on the scale, But if you've never seen a baby pangolin, and I really wonder if Monica Ricks really, truly has. Pangolin? Okay, we're on the same page. I'll tweet out a picture. I mean, a hedgehog won last year, so no one can say. Are we sure? Did it? Let's ask Blake. Hey, what won last year? A baby giraffe, or wasn't that the year before? Last year? That beat the hedgehog? Oh, what? But the porcupine / hedgehog was in the Final Four, right? Wasn't it? Okay, well, it's in the same wheelhouse as the pangolin. It's prickly, but it's cute. Hey, don't influence the bracket. Your chance to win $1,000 is coming up. Brought to you by Cunning Dental. Bleeding gums. Call Cunning Dental for a free exam. 888-640-SMILE. 888-640-SMILE. Keep listening. We'll talk with Steve Gregory. He's down at Miramar Marine Corps Air Station. The Air Force One is about 15 minutes away from landing. And then the Great Wall Beauty Pageant will commence. KFI, AM 640, more stimulating talk. Gary and Shannon Show. Brian Suits filling in. Monica Ricks with the news. Pangolin. I believe the motive in the Texas bombings was to blow shit up. There is that guy. Have you guys seen that thing that the dude makes in Tacoma, Washington? There's a guy who makes a package with an it's a setup, okay? It's a package in a brown box, but there's a blank shotgun round. There's a pure black powder shotgun round in there, and you set it down and you arm it, and it has an anti-tamper, and if you don't know how to disarm it, it'll go bang when you move it. And you buy that and you put it on your porch. This was just a flat-out bomb, so I don't think so. I'll be right back.
From the Norm Reeves Honda Weather Center, rainy and cool all day today. Highs in the 60s around Metro LA and the beaches, into the 70s everywhere else. More rain in the forecast later tonight. Going to drop into the upper 40s and 50s. Driving from the help of SoCal Honda Traffic Center, there's a crash in Linwood on the 105.
Once on site before you to the Long Beach Boulevard, everything off to the shoulder, things pretty heavy coming away from Paramount. If you're heading in between the industry area, just have 60 between Sunset and 57th Freeway. Top trains working there in the far right lane. Things are pretty backed up coming away from Hacienda. Crash continues in Riverside, southbound side of the 215 before you get to the 91. That crash has partial lane taken away. Things are heavy from Martina. This stuff is brought to you by MGM Resorts. KFI and Sky help get you there faster. And
there's no better time to plan your Las Vegas escape, especially now with rooms starting at just $39 a night at MGM Resorts, where you can enjoy the best live shows and award-winning restaurants. Book today at mgmresorts.com.
Hi, I'm Dr. Wendy Walsh. Research shows that when you feel better about yourself, it positively affects your health. That's why I'm a big fan of Live Teeth. It's the new non-surgical, minimally invasive procedure developed by a Beverly Hills plastic surgeon that actually contracts your skin. I want you to come meet me on Saturday, March 17th from 11:30 to 1:30 at the Westin Hotel in Costa Mesa for a free Learn with Live Teeth event. Dr. Robert Applebaum will explain how Live Teeth works and give on-the-spot mini consultations. Unlike lasers, they just resurface. Live Teeth lifts and tightens your skin, and it only takes 1 for years of natural-looking results, you get prettier every day. So come meet me and learn about Live Teeth and enjoy a free luncheon at the Westin Hotel in Costa Mesa. To register, call 800-950-8000. That's 800-950-8000. Or go to liveteeth.com. That's LIFTTE.com. 800-950-8000. See you there.
I did not know Rex Tillerson was speaking live. I didn't know Tillerson's live right now. I kept seeing like highlights, but he's live. He's not saying anything.
I take him.
God bless all of you. God bless the American people. God bless America.
That was outgoing Secretary of State Rex Tillerson giving remarks just hours after President Trump fired him and replaced him with Mike Pompeo of the CIA, who will now have to go through a Senate confirmation. And I want to bring back Brett Baer. He's an Ingress Special Report, and Carl Roach is a former deputy White House Chief of Staff and a Fox News contributor. Both joining me now. Brett, the Secretary...
Have you guys seen the video of Hillary going down the stairs in India? Yeah, I called it Weekend at Bernie. It looks like, what's her name? Elizabeth McCarthy in Weekend at Bernie's. A reboot of Weekend at Bernie's. Or Weekend at Bernice's. And Huma's is right behind her, holding two cell phones. And she's wearing Birkenstocks. Oh, Melissa McCarthy. Melissa McCarthy, that's who it looks like. Where am I transmitting from? This is KFI in Los Angeles, California, at amplitude modulation 640 kilohertz, broadcasting in the Clear Channel, America's #1 radio station. It's raining money. If you're looking to win some money, listen up. Data. Answer the phone even if it's from a number you don't recognize. Your next chance to win is next hour. You have a chance to win $1,000 once an hour, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m., Monday through Friday. And we are waiting for Air Force One to land at Miramar Marine Corps Air Station. And depending on Steve Gregory's schedule, we'll catch up with him in a bit and take the president's remarks. We're a little caught on the back foot here because Rex Tillerson flew back from Africa last night, over the hours. He was fired 3 hours ago, 3 or 4 hours ago, by the president. Mike Pompeo being named as the new Secretary of State, and a longtime deputy of his and career CIA operative and worker and administrator now is the nominated person to head the CIA, and there will be we'll get into that here in a little bit. But anyway, Rex Tillerson was on the screen, and I kept looking up. There's Rex Tillerson, but the story has been on the news all morning long, and then we realized that he's live, and I'm trying to think, has there been a Secretary of State who was fired and then given a goodbye address? Because that's effectively what he did. Was he got up there and he thanked everybody and all the hard work, the whole thing. It was a fairly forgettable address. It was pretty boilerplate. It's been the greatest honor of his life to serve as Secretary of State, and he has attempted through his good hard work to travel to this many dozen countries and the whole thing. Otherwise, it was fairly forgettable, to be dead honest with you. And then he said, I now return to private life and the whole thing. I don't know. He doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who has a book in him. I think Rex Tillerson just wants to get the hell back to his ranch in Texas and never talk about this period of his life again, this year and a half of his life again. And recall, he was not exactly the red hot to trot Secretary of State that most were. I mean, John Kerry was lobbying to be Secretary of State. I mean, he was absolutely, I'm surprised Hillary doesn't have John Kerry's footprints on her back. He couldn't wait to be Secretary of State enough. Rex Tillerson, remember when he took the job, he talked about how his wife was trying to talk him out of it. And, his wife had to talk him into it. That's what it was. His wife had to sit him down and say, you understand this is kind of a big deal and it's a great honor, and the whole thing. So anyway, a year and a half later, just hours after showing some daylight between himself and the White House, he is fired. And here's the other deal, is that if you can't execute and support the President of the United States foreign policy, then you privately express your differences with the president. And apparently, even for a Secretary of State, this president is hard to get some face time with. If that continues, and if the policies continue, or if the president is making statements that undercut or contradict his own policies, and you cannot execute that foreign policy anymore, you resign. That's how it's always worked in that gentleman's department. That's always been the gap between the State Department and the CIA, is that the CIA does wet work. The CIA gets they get liquid on their hands. The State Department does not. State Department assumes the best in all human beings. And gentlemen from the Ivy League are in the State Department. And so if you don't like a policy or a result, you quit. The most famous one is in the aftermath of the debacle in Iran, the Jimmy Carter Desert One debacle. While we're negotiating with the Iranians to return our hostages who were illegally imprisoned, the Secretary of State, Cyrus Vance, didn't know about the military option, and he was not consulted. And so when we woke up and there were the bodies of 8 Americans in a desert in Iran, and the raid had failed, Cyrus Vance's biggest insult was that he wasn't consulted. He resigned from the Jimmy Carter government. So if Rex Tillerson had this feeling with Trump, he should have resigned. And so no matter what you are thinking about, well, Tillerson was the adult in the administration and the whole thing. Bottom line, he worked for the White House. And if he didn't like those policies or he was not apprised of what the White House talking points were about VX gas in Britain, then he should have shut up. But he did not. And he expressed a position that is not the American government's position. As wrong as Sarah Huckabee in the White House is about this, as much as it breaks tradition to not immediately support the British on something where they told us we are absolutely mortal lock positive that this is Russian VX gas or a hybrid of it. Instead, to express a little bit of doubt, regardless, that's American policy. What comes out of the White House is policy, and that's just that. And you don't get to fly home from Nigeria and say, well, you know, the State Department happens to agree with Britain. No, it doesn't. The State Department agrees with the White House. And if his staff didn't watch that press conference, then that's their fault, and they don't even have to because they get the directives, they get the guidance from the White House. And so he had the guidance, but he still went off the reservation. And you just don't do that. You never, ever go against the family. Am I right? We'll be back right after this. It is the Gary and Shannon Show. Brian Suits filling in KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk. Monica Ricks with the news. That's how that works. Because it is really dumb to not be saying out loud, we absolutely agree with our longtime ally, Great Britain. Excuse me. Woo!
Morning, so any minute now. And later in the day, Trump is scheduled to talk to troops at Marine Corps Air Station Miramar, then attend a fundraiser in Beverly Hills. News brought to you by OvationHair.com. President Trump says he's replacing Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, and Tillerson just confirmed it.
I received a call today from the President of the United States a little after noon time from Air Force One.
That was more than 3 hours after Trump tweeted about the firing. Tillerson says he wants to
we're going to try him on the access. If there's issues again, we'll just have him on the phone.
Steve?
Yeah, but he says he's on the base now. So,
Secretary, Deputy Secretary of State Sullivan.
So there's that.
My commission as Secretary of State terminated midnight March 31st.
Tillerson says he'll now return to private.
Look at the baby pangolin on the back of the mommy pangolin. Have you ever seen them run?
No.
They run on their back legs because they're so heavy. Pangolin running.
And we just got confirmation that President Trump has touched down in California.
Touchdown.
And he's going to check out those border wall prototypes in San Diego. He'll meet with some military members there before heading to Southern California. The military is looking into new guidelines for the use of helmet cameras on the battlefield after fighters linked to ISIS killed 4 Green Berets in Africa last year. The militants tried to shop around footage from an American helmet cam.
So are they in the armadillo thing?
I guess. Well, they...
Experts say the military might respond with tighter rules about soldiers wearing those portable cameras. And 8 cities in California.
World Pangolin Day. February, we missed World Pangolin Day.
Oh, shit.
The rankings from the website Wallet Hub are based on
yeah, here we go. Running away from the camera.
Fremont in the Bay Area has been named the happiest place to live in the U.S. 2 cities in OC, Irvine, and Huntington Beach are number 8 and 9. Santa Clarita.
Oh, usually they just are on their back feet because their tails are so heavy.
LA ranked number 70.
They live in the Southwest or in other countries?
No, they live in Africa and parts of Asia.
Westchester now on the 405.
Pangolin does the T-Rex, climbs on couch, has a snooze. Filmed in Namibia. See, look, see? I don't know what he has back there.
If you're heading into Toluca Lake on the 134 eastbound side of Cahuenga, the right lane shut down because of an earlier crash. Traffic there coming right up to 101. Also, problems if you're heading into Mission Viejo, southbound side of the 5 right before traffic.
I don't know what the hell that is. Like a tracker or something.
That is. Traffic is heavy just before you get to Oso Parkway. KFI in the Sky Hills get you there faster. I'm Jay Lee.
Dr. Charles Manger at Saddleback
Pretty
Eye
cool.
Center announces the all-new WOW LASIK exam. It measures the prescription of your eyes 25 times more accurately than before. And I will give you this exam if you're one of the first 11 callers. Have your phone in your hand, be poised to dial as soon as I give you the number. Dr. Manger wants to wow you with crystal clear vision. WOW LASIK starts out with Dr. Manger doing 14 different tests on your eyes. Most LASIK doctors only do a few. when I had LASIK with Dr. Manger, I woke up the next day, and I did, truthfully. I said, wow. It's the only thing you can say when you realize how clearly you're seeing. It's the difference between regular TV and high-definition TV. I'll give you a WOW LASIK exam. If you're one of the first 11 callers, you must schedule the exam now. You ready? Call 866-559-4444. 866-559-4444. 866-559-4444.
Southbound weather from KFI, some patchy fog right now, and that's still burning off a little bit, but it's looking clearer outside. Scattered showers throughout the day, highs in the 60s around Metro LA and the beaches, into the 70s in the Valley, OC, and the IE. More rain possible later tonight, partly cloudy and windy tomorrow. We lead local, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Monica Ricks.
Hey, it's Dean Sharp, the House Whisperer. When I show people the video of me standing in the Winston showroom trying to bash my way through what looks like a window screen with a baseball bat and getting nowhere, it's hard for them to believe. But even when I tell them, go to the showroom, grab the bat, and try it yourself, it's still hard for them to believe. That's because these patented security screens from Winston...
So... the guy that killed the Pomona police officer, I've got one guy telling me that Sheriff McDonnell is suppressing his immigration status. But besides that, who cares? He's another Prop 47 guy. So, you know, pick your outrage on that one. Gary and Shannon, KFI AM 640 more stimulating talk. It is Brian Suits filling in for Gary and Shannon, and we'll get back to the ultimatum that Theresa May, Prime Minister of Britain, has given Vladimir Putin to fess up or explain why a nerve gas that only exists in Russia's arsenal winds up poisoning people in Great Britain last Sunday. But it is wheels down. The president has hit the ground at Miramar Marine Corps Air Station. Steve Gregory is still wheels down at Miramar. You're back at Miramar now, right? And the president, they were showing the president walk towards one of the Black Hawk presidential helicopters that are in the same paint scheme, that dark, that gloss olive and white. So he's going to speak to service members first and then go down there, or is he heading towards the wall now? Yeah. Shit, I'd rather take Javier Becerra on Fox right now. Get ready to take Fox. So you will not accompany him down to the wall thing, but he'll come back and probably make some remarks. Well, I guess he's going to make some remarks there, right? Or is he just going to nod and cross his arms and all that? Can we take it? All right, then we'll check back in with you. I guess when he's back at Miramar, we'll monitor Fox and all that, and see him there at the beauty pageant for Concrete Walls, and we'll just. It's going to be a momentous day. I can't wait for him to get back to Santa Monica. All right, we will chat. All right, Steve. All right, so Javier Becerra, our Attorney General, is on Fox right now with Dana Perino. He's in L.A. Let's just check in with what inane statement he's making. No, it's not. That was a lie. This is Javier Becerra, the Attorney General of California, formerly known as Xavier Becerra at Stanford Law School. Huh? But you're not going to help criminal aliens get deported. Is that right there? You wrecked them? I mean, you really destroyed them there. This is Dana Perino on Fox. Bull ass. All right. I haven't eaten breakfast yet, and that's probably a good thing. So we'll take a break. Okay, again, this is the guy. This is the son of a bitch who said that if you, a California employer, are informed by ICE that they will be there tomorrow at 8 a.m., and you do not warn your employees, you've broken the law. That's this guy. This guy's coming for you. And he just claimed with a straight face that he's not interfering in any way with federal authority. But you, the private employer in California, the private businessman in California, if ICE calls you and says, hey, on the down low, we're going to be there tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., and you don't inform your employees, you don't take a proactive action to interfere with federal law enforcement, you've broken a California law. So good luck. Good luck. That's Javier Becerra, your Attorney General. And he's here to protect Californians. We'll be back right after this. Because, of course, if you physically exist here, regardless of your legal right to be here, you're a Californian. Back right after this. It is the Gary and Shannon Show. Brian Suit filling in. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. Monica Ricks with the news. What a lying fucking sack of shit Javier Becerra is. Really, really, really a scumbag. And this is all because he thinks that all Hispanic Democrats are in favor of illegal immigration. So that's the only reason he's doing this. This is the only reason that the guy tolerates criminal aliens. And if this fucking guy in Pomona turns out to be an illegal alien, multi-deport, plus he got out of a California prison and wasn't deported, then fuck Javier Becerra. The family of Officer Casillas in Pomona should sue that motherfucker, and the family of any police officer killed by a Prop 47 baby should sue the state of California. But if this guy, Isaiah de Jesus Valencia, who doesn't post anything in English on Facebook, if he turns out to be an illegal alien who's in and out of the California prison system and was never on immigration hold, then fuck Javier Becerra. God damn. I mean, we've turned into two states. You know, there's Second Amendment California and legal California, and then there's the Democrats. So, Jesus Christ. Let me ask again about the immigration status of our boy. Oh, here's a great point. If Valencia, the guy that killed the Pomona police officer, if he was legal, they'd be pushing that right now.
Well, 20, Ryan Burrow is going to come on and talk about the bombs.
Okay. Yeah, here's a great point that one of my men on the inside just made. Is that if the Pomona cop killer was legal, they'd be making that point right now. And that the longer they go without...
Well, you know what just happened today is they postponed his arraignment to May 1st. It was supposed to be today. Andrew was going out there, and I was going to put him on. And he said, hey, they just postponed it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that just happened. So we'll have that we can leave trending with that, or you could say it now when we come back. But yeah, it was supposed to be today.
I didn't know that. The Pomona cop killer, his arraignment was postponed.
In fact, let me see if there's a reader on it.
That sounds like a cover-up, by the way. At this point, the fact that we didn't know by Sunday night or Monday his immigration status, the longer we go without knowing, the more likely it is he's illegal, the more likely it is that he was let out of CalDoc and not held and not deported. And now his arraignment has been delayed. Wait, what was I holding up to the phone? Wait, you're saying I held like the screen up? Oh. Well, yeah, there wasn't. It was the empty text message thing. Gary and Shannon show. Brian Suits filling in. KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk. A development. We were going to talk to Andrew Mullenbeck today because the arraignment of Isaiah De Jesus Valencia was going to happen today. The accused cop killer in Pomona on Friday night, the killer of Pomona police officer Casillas. And so he was. Oh, okay, so he was charged. Yeah, so the actual arraignment, and this is kind of the news here. I mean, because I just see a confluence of circumstantial evidence that perhaps LA County, whoever runs law enforcement in LA County, I mean, I know they don't run the courts, but I don't know if Jackie Lacey or the LA County Prosecutor's Office, if they pay attention to who's in town. But Trump landed 30 minutes ago. The cop killer from Friday night in Pomona, Isaiah De Jesus Valencia, his arraignment has been delayed till May 1st. The man accused of fatally shooting a Pomona police officer and seriously wounding another was formally charged today with capital murder and multiple counts of attempted murder. He was scheduled to appear in a Pomona courtroom for the first time, but the hearing was continued to May 1. I mean, the point that I'm going to make here, and the facts that I will state, and you can put together whatever conclusion you want, are that and this is not, if I guess, this is not a fact. This is just, so I shouldn't say that. If his status was citizen or landed immigrant, I believe we would have heard that by now. That would have been part of his vitals that we would have had by Monday, and at least here by Tuesday. That's watching the cycle in California of how crimes occur, and then we discover what the immigration status of the individual is. It's usually, we'll get back to you, we're looking in on it for the first 24 to 48 hours. We're now out of those 48 hours. And while it's outrageous that a guy who discharged a gun in a school zone and did multiple other felonies was out after a year, that's a Prop 47 thing. That's a completely different deal. So existentially, should he have been ripping around Pomona recklessly on Friday night? I'd rather that the guy who discharged the gun in the school zone at least did his 5 years, but he didn't. And so that's on Prop 47 there. But beyond that, should he have ever physically existed in this country to fire a gun in the school zone? We don't know that yet. And we know how the news works here in LA. And the longer we don't know that, the more likely a conclusion is. And I will backstroke this. If it turns out that sometime on Sunday they announced that the guy was a U.S. citizen, a naturalized citizen, a landed immigrant, whatever, I'll walk it back. I'm just saying that in my observation, in more than a decade of Los Angeles criminal justice and law enforcement, in fact, let's expand that to California law enforcement and criminal justice, there is that pattern where some might say the information is shielded. And you would never want to shield that information more than right now with the guy who just came into the country and is at Miramar Marine Corps Air Station. I mean, can you imagine if you're a elected official of the Democratic flavor, say like a county prosecutor or a county sheriff of Los Angeles County, and you have a police officer Friday night dead at the hands of an illegal alien, and your worst nightmare is Trump flying into town. Because you've already got Jamil Shah Sr., who's haunting Los Angeles. And the ghosts of the Bologna family in San Francisco. And now Kate Steinle. You've already got that to deal with. Because we know how Democrats love victims. So you can't sit there and denounce Jamil Shah Sr., the poster boy for criminal alien crime. And then we just heard Javier Becerra say that his number one job is protecting Californians. Well, LA County didn't call ICE when Jamil Shah Jr.'s killer got out of Men's Central. Okay, and San Francisco literally served a 20-year-old marijuana possession warrant to Texas to get Kate Steinle's killer in San Francisco. And they scholarshiped him. They flew him there. And Gavin Newsom protected Edwin Ramos in San Francisco, right up to the point where that MS-13 teenager opened up with a real AK-47 on the Bologna family. And so never mind the Prop 47 stuff. Can you imagine a more perfect storm than this? Friday night, Pomona loses a young police officer. The guy shouldn't have been out, except for Prop 47. Should have been actually there in jail. He's arraigned. Trump flies in on Tuesday. And we still don't know what the status of Valencia is. We don't know if he's here on a visa, naturalized, or he was born here. We don't know. And we don't know if he's illegal. We still don't know. The argument I would make is, if you're Jackie Lacey, if you're LA County prosecutor, elected position, if you're Sheriff McDonnell, elected position, I think you would be pushing that information out that Mr. Valencia is a legal resident of the United States of America or U.S. citizen. I think we'd be seeing that. And by the way, let me correct something that we've had on the record here on KFI. We have no indication that Valencia served in the U.S. military. None. None. There's nothing on his Facebook to indicate that he was never anything except a junior ROTC guy in Pomona. Nothing about the U.S. military. You can join the U.S. military as a foreigner if you are here on legal status. If you have a green card, you can join. Okay? You can go into junior ROTC the day you walk in here from Guatemala or Belgium. There's nothing preventing an illegal alien from being in JROTC. The pictures on Valencia's Facebook page are junior ROTC. They are not the U.S. military. So let me just put that on the record. We were running a news story yesterday that was incorrect. That's incorrect. We don't know. There's no service record of Isaiah De Jesus Valencia in the U.S. military. We'll be back right after this. The Gary and Shannon Show. Brian Suit filling in KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk. Yeah, that pissed me off. Corbin, what's his name? I haven't met the guy. But he had a story saying that there were pictures on Valencia's Facebook page indicating he was in the U.S. military. No, there fucking wasn't. The pictures, in fact, indicate that he was in junior ROTC. Hi, everyone. Yeah, who doesn't love super hyper local Sundays? Oh, the ultimatum for Stormy Daniels is come and gone. Oops, come and gone. Did I go there? Is Nick in there? Yeah, my when I first started at KFI, when we were at 25,000 watts, because that plane, flew into the antenna. My wife could hear me up in Monroe, Washington, on 25,000 watts. Yeah, it's a monster signal, and I believe it goes further north than south, which is weird because it's harder to go uphill. Is my computer? KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. We're only hours away from tear gas, ultimatums, and possible sex videotapes involving the President of the United States. Wait. And that means it's time for What's Trending.
Thank you.
Well, Gary and Shannon show. Brian Suit filling in for Gary and Shannon on KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. They are filling in for Bill Handel while Bill is healing up, and they're doing a spectacular job. And the ultimatum, not the one from Prime Minister Theresa May to Vladimir Putin, to explain how a nerve gas that only exists in the former Soviet Union made it to a park bench in Salisbury, Britain. Not that deadline. That's midnight. No, the Stormy Daniels deadline has, and I hesitate to say come and gone because someone might take me wrong, but it passed by without us even noting it. I guess it was about an hour ago. Her attorney, one Michael Avenatti of Los Angeles, California. Are you there, Nick? Hey, let's get this dude on. I understand it's going to be a busy day for him, but he's here in Los Angeles. Attorney Michael Avenatti tweeted out earlier today, quote, "The president and Mr. Cohen, his personal attorney, have purposely ignored our settlement offer, thus doubling down on their efforts to muzzle Ms. Clifford and prevent her from telling the American people what happened. Time to buckle up. Hashtag basta." And basta is Italian for time's up. And so, Stormy Daniels, a.k.a., what's her name, Clifford? Stephanie Clifford? Yeah. And the offer was this. We'll repay you the $130,000 if you tear up the NDA, the non-disclosure, non-disparagement agreement. And I still haven't had. It's my understanding that when monies are exchanged, and you don't agree to return the money or take it back in return, that the NDA is still in effect. And so, because I would say if that were not the case, then there would be a far different tweet going out. It would be tick tick tick. He accepted our offer, or if there was a different deal, if you could just abrogate a non-disclosure agreement, which is it's a legal agreement, it's a contract. If you could just do it, she would just be doing it, and there would be a bidding war trying to hit the guy where he lived. You would be releasing this in the fall of 2019 after the Iowa caucuses and all that, because if the people who voted for Trump, who are most likely to peel away because of the infidelity and the whole thing and the bimbos, would be white female voters in the Midwest who are what put him over the top. I mean, everybody put him over the top, but those were voters who were supposed to vote for Hillary Clinton because she looked like them and she sounded like them, supposedly. But they went with a guy on his third wife, and his second wife from a country that starts with slow. And so clearly it's going to take a lot more than banging a porn star to peel them away. But so anyway, it's a far different tweet. All he's saying is buckle up. So yeah, producer Nick, this guy, her attorney, is here in L.A. So Michael Avenatti, and like I say, I think he's probably got bigger fish to fry. It's a big day for Trump here in Southern California. but I would imagine he'd be available for a quick phoner. Because I'd like to know, well, what's next? If you're still bound by this agreement, then what are you even tweeting for? Meanwhile, President Trump is down inspecting the wall prototypes today, and it is a beauty contest. He's not gonna make the final decision. The final decision is going to be made by a committee of Border Patrol personnel, field personnel, and things like that. But he is, I believe, going to preside over the bikini, the talent, and the questioning period of the wall beauty contest. Making his first visit to California since taking office on Tuesday. That was badly written by our friends Channel 7. President Donald Trump is making his first visit to California since taking office on Tuesday. There's no comma in there. So anyway, his first stop will be Otay Mesa in San Diego, which is where he's at right now. Trump is expected to see the 8 prototypes for his proposed wall. All 8 models are between 18 to 30 feet high. By the way, Trump tweeted out earlier when he was in Air Force One, he tweeted out a study, and this would be interesting for Gavin Newsom to maybe bounce off. But there's a study that's out there that says that the border wall would be paid for in welfare savings. And if you know anything about if you push back on the lie about that illegal aliens provide more, they make more than they take, then you understand that it is a net loss. That overall, it is a net loss, especially in the case that many of them don't pay any income taxes federally, but that ultimately the savings in welfare. Can you imagine, if you're an American citizen and you need public assistance, can you imagine what would happen if 11 million people, more than half of whom are on public assistance, if they were deported or they self-deported? So there's that. So, hey, public money spenders here in California, did your eyes just pop out of your head? Think of all the services you could then afford that you can't afford now because people who shouldn't be in this country are sucking them up. We'd finally have voicemail for the homeless and Pilates for the homeless and kale for the homeless, the whole thing. We'll come back here in just a second, but you know what? Your chance to win $1,000 is coming up. Put $1,000 in your hand. Brought to you by Cutting Dental. Bleeding gums? Call Cutting Dental for a free exam. 888-640-SMILE. 888-640-SMILE. Keep listening. KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk. Gary and Shannon Show. Monica Rick says the news. Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, we're doing Ryan Burroughs.
I missed what you said about Michael Avenatti, the Stormy lawyer.
He's here in L.A.
And you just want to see if we can get him on?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'll see if we can do a phoner on one, maybe?
Yeah, let me find it. It is just Avenatti.com.
Yeah, I found his email on there. I think that's the same site.
Yeah, but burn a call into him. Maybe we'll get him to advertise.
Yeah. Are you a porn star that had an affair with the person?
Look, he's got a fucking flash site going up on Trump and everything.
Yeah.
There are results, and then there are excuses.
So what, you just want to talk to him about them offering to give the money back?
Yeah, like what's next? Don't tell me what cases you won. Tell me who you've beaten. Yeah. This trial was a search for the truth, and the jury found it. Yeah, Stormy Daniels' attorney. This guy is a camera whore, and he's looking for attention. Rodman pleads guilty to DUI. Yeah, Eminem ranted about the NRA, the iHeart Radio Awards. But, yeah, meanwhile, he's illegally possessing a gun, etc.
And you are here to switch your cereal with grainberry cereal with onyx sorghum, a special grain that's better than whole grain oats or wheat alone.
But does it have flavor?
Tons, plus more antioxidants than any other cereal, fruit, or vegetable.
Antioxidants?
You're cute.
Look for grainberry cereals with amazing onyx sorghum.
Grainberry, grainberry.
If you're in the market for replacement windows, you have to check out Infinity from Marvin. This is not a vinyl window. It's much different. They use a patented fiberglass-based material that is exclusive to Infinity from Marvin. They're better looking, they're stronger, they have more glass, will last far longer, and are available in more colors. Through March 31st, you'll receive their sound and trim package, both at no additional charge. Dial pound 250 on the cell and just say handle package. That's pound 250 on your cell, say handle package, or visit handlepackage.com.
If you love great buffets, get ready because Valley View Casino and Hotel
All right, we're going to talk to Ryan Burrow from ABC News.
Monday through Thursday, you can enjoy all-you-can-eat Maine lobster plus over 200 delicious dinner options from around the globe, all for just $20. Plus, Monday through Friday, you can enjoy their endless steak and seafood lunch buffet for just
So you think Trump was in an Osprey?
$20 for dinner and $10 for lunch, and only at the world-famous Valley View Casino Maine Lobster Buffet.
Did you know that AMCO is the preferred vendor for most extended warranty companies? Well, if you think you have a problem with the transmission, if your car just doesn't feel right, or service lights on, trust the vehicle to the same guys that warranty companies trust. Your neighbor.
Yeah, usually the Ospreys, when he comes to LA, the Ospreys stage at Burbank. By the way, here's a fun fact. When Trump speaks at Miramar, there's going to be a Super Hornet in the background, and it's a Marine Corps fighter squadron, the Red Devils. The son of the Burbank police chief is a fighter pilot in that squadron. Because anytime you see a red tail F-18 at Burbank Airport, it means that he's having lunch with his dad. Because he'll get some cross-country, time in. And he and a wingman will land here at Burbank, and then his dad will pick him up, and they'll go have lunch somewhere, 3 blocks away in Burbank. But it's pretty funny. He was if you were at the live show in Orange, I think about 2 months ago. He was there. We were talking after the show. He was a big tall guy wearing flip-flops. But he's a Marine Corps major and a fighter pilot, and his dad is Chief Chief Talking Bear. No, I forgot his name. The Burbank chief's name. It's something French. Chief Lachey, something like that. I don't know. So Fox is live at the border walls, and they have Trump. See Trump at the border there, or at the border walls. Oh, this. Shit, what's his name? But anyway, yeah, the Burbank chief is a good dude. He's a good guy. And Burbank, LaChasse. Yeah. Burbank is a very safe town. I lived here off and on over the years, and I love it. Especially on the weekends, most of the people that live here, that work here, don't live in Burbank. So Burbank is a really, really quiet town on the weekends. Everybody, Neil Saavedra, the Fork Reporter. Look, Trump's at the concrete beauty contest.
Remember what was the $1.26 beauty contest back in the day?
Oh yeah, Chuck Barris.
Yeah, something. It was a Chuck Barris or.
I thought it was Chuck Barris.
No, the gay guy with the toupee.
Well, he was on it, but I don't think he was
Maybe
the host.
by Chuck
What, are you
Yes.
back at 1?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
1:30.
Yeah, there'll be Trump news.
Excellent. 1:30, I think. 1:32.
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. It is the Gary and Shannon show. Brian Suits filling in for Gary and Shannon. If you're looking to win some money, just listen up. And, of course, answer the phone if it's from a number you don't recognize. Your next chance to win is next hour. You have a chance to win $1,000 once an hour, 5 a.m. to 7 p.m. every Monday through Friday. And Trump is at the wall prototype display right now. Fox has someone on the ground there. We get some information, so we'll go back to that if there's anything live. Ryan Burrow for ABC News is on the Austin bomb story. There, March 2nd, the first bomb killed a 39-year-old African-American man, Anthony House. Yesterday, there were 2. One killed a 17-year-old boy, another critically injured a 75-year-old woman. We're now 24 hours away from that. So Ryan Burrow, they're being real tight, close to the vest on the information about the bomb. And obviously, they're not going to sit there and describe, the bomb because they don't want copycats.
In a press briefing they're going to have in about 2 hours here on the conditions of some of the people who were injured. But I have to tell you that,
It was a shitty connection.
the hour being here, FBI agents continue to come and go, dozens of them. We've seen some go into the actual home itself, wearing white protective gear, hoods on, gloves on, boots on. So obviously they are trying to check everything they possibly can because at this point we still don't have a suspect name. At least
Wait, he said they're wearing protective gear going into the victim's house, right?
And we just got some reporting with ABC News right now that so far there are no connections between any of these victims. They do believe. For herself up and then setting it, and they believe that that shows that this person, whoever it is or whoever it was,
So they haven't revealed what the explosive was, but they have revealed that the 3 devices are similar enough that they believe they're made by the same person. No, they will not. And so, but so they were going back inside the victim's house, examining in protective gear, even though all 3 bombs never made it in the front door. Isn't that correct? It made it in the house, but the others were detonated on the patio when the person picked them up or whatever, moved it. And so because I don't know Austin, what's the proximity of these 3? I mean, are they on different points of town or are in the same neighborhood? All right, Ryan Burroughs there in Austin, and we'll if events warrant, if there's more stuff, we'll check back in with you. All right, thank you very much. We're watching President Trump is down there at the wall prototype site with Border Patrol agents in uniform and the Homeland Security Secretary. I forgot her name. The blonde woman in her 40s with the what is her name? She's the one behind Trump. Well, she's the blonde woman in her 40s. What would you say late 30s? Am I being anti hashtag me too? I'm saying I think she's in her mid 40s, and it's a Nordic name. It's like Tollefson or something. Kirsten Nielsen. That's right, fresh off the boat from Norway, and she's the Secretary of Homeland Security. So this is her call, her committee. Her named committee of Border Patrol agents and ICE and other administrators. But if you don't think for a second that Trump has the tiebreaker vote on this, and so knowing what we know about Trump, he's literally making up his mind right now. Hey, they might be cartoons. I mean, and Mr. President, in this one, the cat is the psychiatrist, and the dog is lying on the couch, and the dog is saying, no. And so this is not part of the decision-making criteria. This is just the president publicly showing progress. This, by the way, again, this is going to be part of a campaign commercial. You're damn right this is going to be part of a campaign commercial. This is a phenomenal backdrop. You've got the 8 prototype walls. You've got U.S. Border Patrol in uniform. See the guys in the background? See the dudes in the Stetsons? That's mounted. That's where? I said dudes. That's a general term. Like you dudes there in the newsroom. I can't see. What kind of screen? Who's paying for your computer screen? What the hell? You have 4K in there? Well, the individuals, the highly professional individuals in the background are mounted. That's a Border Patrol mounted deal back there, and that's a photo op. So you're damn right that's going to be in the cam, and they have no purpose to be there. This is not physically on the border. They're not like in the middle of a patrol and they rode up on the president or something like that. They moseyed up, snuck up on him. This is at a site off the border. So the mounted patrol of Border Patrol people were brought there specifically to provide that background. Yeah. And I mean, I gotta say, I can't wait to see how BBC covers this, because you got Trump in a suit and tie, and in the background you have United States Border Patrol officers mounted on horses with 6-shooters. That's the best. That is, you know what they need? Right about now, they need a bald eagle to land on the arm of one of those Border Patrol officers in a little green jumpsuit. We'll be back right after this. It is the Gary and Shannon Show. Brian Suits filling in. KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk. Monica Ricks with the news.
Students in LA have organized a March for Our Lives in LA to walk in step with the march in Washington.
Jessica Flan says she grew up watching school.
Thousand Oaks. Locklear is accused of getting violent with her boyfriend, and police say Locklear then kicked, pushed, and shouted at deputies when they showed up. One person's been killed in the crash of a bus carrying high schoolers from Texas back from a band performance at Disney World. That bus went into a ravine in Alabama just before dawn.
The ravine is approximately 50 feet deep, and so that's one of the things that took so long in the extrication process.
Baldwin County Sheriff Huey Mack says most of the 40 or so people on that bus who got hurt had minor injuries. At least one person was critically hurt. The driver was killed. The bus ran into a median before plunging into the ravine. National Geographic says its past coverage of the world was racist.
Editor-in-Chief Susan Goldberg says the publication, which is devoting its April issue to race, had to own its story to move beyond it. An internal investigation showed that until the 1970s,
National Geographic pretty much ignored people of color in the United States who were not domestics or laborers. It also reinforced people of color from foreign lands as exotics, famously and frequently unclothed, happy hunters, noble savages, every type of cliche. Aaron Bender, KFI News.
Traffic from your helpful SoCal Honda Traffic Center now. It's a little slow in Hollywood on the 101.
Southbound side launching in front, right Santa Monica Boulevard over to the 110. Northbound side slows down between the 10 and the 110 freeway. Speaking of the 110, just hearing about a car fire. If you're heading into South LA, 110 southbound side of Florence, it's off to the shoulder, but things are really heavy coming away from about Exposition. Northbound side is going to slow down from the 105. Things are heavy if you're heading into Santa Ana. Had a chair dropped in lanes, northbound side of the 5 at Main Street, so things there are pretty slow coming away from 17. And watch out for a slowdown getting out of Moreno Valley, northbound 215 from Alessandro to about University. KFI in the sky helps get you there faster. I'm Jay.
Hey guys, Conway here. I want to talk to those of you who are losing your hair. If you can see it, so can everybody else. Hair loss can make you look older, affect your physical appearance, and how others perceive you. The advanced FUE treatment is an incredible new breakthrough, and it's your own natural hair. A simple one-day, affordable treatment, and in my opinion, probably one of the easiest, most life-changing things you could invest in. I personally recommend Advanced Hair. They're #1 in Los Angeles for hair restoration. Not only did Advanced Hair develop this new technology, they've also designed an exclusive premium experience. Guys, this is top-notch. With the new breakthrough advanced FUE treatment, your new hair starts growing the very next day. You're not going to believe the amount of attention and recognition you're going to get. Schedule your Beverly Hills or Orange County consultation right away, and the first 15 callers will get $500 off the treatment. Dial pound 250 and use the keywords advanced hair. Pound 250 advanced hair. Pound 250 advanced hair. Or go to advancedhair.com.
Southbound weather from KFI. Scattered showers throughout the day today. Going to see highs in the 60s around Metro LA and the beaches, into the 70s in the Valley, OC, and the IE. More rain possible later tonight, partly cloudy and windy tomorrow. We lead local live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Monica Ricks.
Are you a type 2 diabetic? Then get to the free Reverse Your Diabetes Lunch Seminar coming to Newport Beach Saturday, March 24th. With your type 2 diabetes, are you tired of trying different diets, exercise programs, medications, only to be told by your doctor they have to go on yet one more medication? Well, so were the multiple patients that went to Next Advanced Medicine at MVPC practice, where they finally learned an individualized approach to reverse their type 2 diabetes. Ann was diabetic for 14 years, taking 105 units of insulin a day. In just 3 weeks, she was able to get off all her insulin and now no longer diabetic. Raul was diabetic for 5 years on 10 medications. His A1C was 9.4. Now he's off all meds, A1C down to 5.6, no longer diabetic. Diabetes is taking 200 lives every day. Don't you owe it to yourself and your family to turn this disease around before it's too late? You got to get to the free Reverse Your Diabetes Lunch Seminar coming to Newport Beach Saturday, March 24th. All you got to do is make a reservation on your cell phone, dial pound 250 and use the keyword diabetes. That's pound 250 on your cell and just say diabetes.
Once again, there's volatility in the stock market. If you're retired or retiring soon and don't have years to make up a major loss, don't miss this free Money Matters Retirement Seminar. Choose Sherman Oaks this Saturday or Monrovia March 24th. Learn to help protect your retirement from a stock market crash. How to properly diversify your portfolio.
We have Dianne Feinstein reaction to Gina Haspel's nomination to be the director of the CIA. Guess what? Dianne likes her, so that's a surprise. The input I got.
Injured? Call the Barnes firm now. 800-8 million. The attorneys at the Barnes firm are ready to help.
About Valencia and his arraignment being held off till May 1st is, because I said, hey, is it fishy as hell that he was postponed to May 1? The answer I got is you never know. News and LASD, LA Sheriff's Department, both have agendas. Postponed is routine.
If the robots take over, at least you'll know how stimulating talk. Just ask Google Home to play KFI.
All right, here's KFI on iHeartRadio.
Drain the swamp. We're going to drain the swamp of Washington. We're going to have fun doing it. We're all doing it together.
Swamp launch.
KFI AM 640 more stimulating talk. It is the Gary and Shannon Show. Brian Suits filling in for Gary and Shannon. Gary and Shannon are filling in for Bill Handel, who will be back as soon as he heals up his back. Brian Suits filling in for Gary and Shannon. Everyone, that's how it works. Everyone moves to the left. Well, I guess I'm not moving to the left, but anyway. So that's why I'm in for Gary and Shannon. But the baby animal bracket is still up and running. And I urge you, at Dark Secret Place, if you follow me on the Twitter machine, I urge you to give the baby pangolin a serious consideration. Did you see the thing I posted about all the baby pangolins? I just think you should. And I grant that hedgehogs are really cute when they're babies. And they stay cute when they're older, by the way. So an eyewitness says that a few minutes after Air Force One landed, Trump actually flew via an Osprey, a vertical, the airplane that takes off like a helicopter, for those of you that don't know. There's presidential Ospreys. We saw them all the time when Obama was here. And then Trump he Ospreyed down to the wall site, and 2 Marine Corps Cobra helicopters were with them at the time as escorts. So that's interesting. And anyway, they're physically still there down in San Diego. Can we take any of this? This is Swamp Watch. He is the president. He's down there judging the concrete beauty contest. This is, I believe, still the swimsuit phase. But what's Fox doing? Are they just giving us unnarrated audio? Oh, the anchor? Well, okay. All right. Well, I guess Blake is producing the show now. That's fine. It's a bit of a throw up there. I mean, toss up. I'm sorry, not throw up. I didn't mean. Come on. I'm sorry. Just be nice. I'm trying to apologize. I don't do that often. Okay. So anyway, Blake's sorry for vetoing my idea of going live a little bit with Fox and just getting some. But Trump is standing there in front of prototype. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. Prototype 4. They're all, I guess, in the request for proposal. They're all. Does that look like 20 feet? If Trump is scale, if Trump is 6'2". Are those 30 feet or 20 feet? Anyway, I think they're 30 feet. Yeah, if we use and the old joke, banana for scale, because somebody once on Craigslist put up a picture of a big screen TV they were selling, and they were holding up a random grocery store banana, and they actually wrote banana for scale. So anyway, if Trump is 6'2", those are 30-foot walls, right? So those are pretty darn big. But anyway, he's at wall number 4, and we'll take his Miramar remarks when he gets back there. So the shakeup in the organization chart earlier today, Rex Tillerson, Secretary of State, is out. So according to The Onion, that means that the last adult in the Trump administration is nicknamed Mad Dog. And so the nominated new Secretary of State is Mike Pompeo. He was the director of the CIA. His short list bio, he was a business guy. After he got out of the Army, he was a West Pointer. And whenever you see that #1 graduate at West Point, every Point Wester I know, and in my officer's artillery basic course in Fort Sill, I had 140 Point Westers who just got out of jail at West Point, plus 10 former NCOs like me and 10 Marines. So I got to know the Point Westers really well. To a man, they all said the same thing. The #1 graduate, be it Wesley Clark or whoever, was always a weasel, because you have to maneuver and scheme to be the #1 graduate. So they said, never trust the #1 graduate, whether it's David Petraeus or Wesley Clark. They did something to get there. So anyway, Mike Pompeo was the #1 graduate, successful in business, and he was a Tea Party Republican, got elected to Congress out of Kansas. And then after President Trump, Pompeo has he's got a great mind on him, real smart guy, very, very sharp guy, good foreign policy mind on him, and probably will be a pretty good Secretary of State. He has good reviews from the CIA after only a year and a half. The nominated director of CIA is a career CIA employee, Gina Haspel. She entered the CIA in 1985. At the height of the Cold War. And so she has that notch in her belt, which many have criticized the CIA because they're promoting generations of people who have only fought the war on terror and don't recall that the war on terror has never, ever been an existential threat to the United States of America. It has been swatting at flies, but the real war was the Cold War. And that The Soviet Union may have changed its name and its letterhead and its Twitter handle, but that still exists. And so Gina Haspel comes from that school. And then on September 11, 2001, and in her case, prior to that, knowing full well that the transnational terrorism threat was out there after the Twin Embassy bombings and the USS Cole. So knowing that she hit 9/11 running, and so one ghost in her past, as she goes in front of the Senate for confirmation, is what about the fact that she was in charge of one of the so-called black sites, the one in Thailand, which if you know anything about how that program ran, that's the one that we called Cat's Eye. And it primarily was concerned with the terrorists that were rolled up in Indonesia in East Asia, but also it was another place where some of the 9/11 guys were rendered. If they were rolled up in the Philippines or rolled up in Pakistan, they weren't taken to the black site, that one place in Pomona. They were taken to Cat's Eye in Thailand. And so torture was used there. In the case of one of the 9/11 suspects, Abu Zubaydah, he was waterboarded 93 times. And he lost his left eye. He's at Gitmo right now. He's a bad guy, but he didn't have anything operational. So the way it works is you have to convince Dianne Feinstein. You have to get through Dianne Feinstein, and you go into a room, and only one of you come out. And she takes a bottle, and she breaks it on a table, and then she comes at you. And if you can defeat Dianne Feinstein, you become the director of the CIA. I'm pretty sure that's how it runs. Gina Haspel is the first female to be nominated for this, but don't worry, Di-Fi already has your back. According to, and what's my source here, National Security Congressional reporter for CNN, Jeremy Herb, he says, Senator Feinstein, who led the Senate Intel torture report, has kind words for Gina Haspel. She says, quote, she says, quote, we've had a long personal talk. Everything I know is that she has been a good deputy director of the CIA, close quote. So she's in. Because regardless of what you're going to hear is that she supervised Cat's Eye when waterboarding was going on, and then she destroyed some of the videotapes and other evidence. The reason that Gina Haspel is well thought of in the CIA is because she was following lawful orders of a president of the United States. Speaking of a president of the United States, hang on. Let's take some of this. He's talking. Trump is talking there at the wall. So let's take like 1 minute of this.
That's incredible.
He's holding up a picture. All right, so we can take it down now. He's holding up a picture that the Border Patrol provided of the border area, and I'll tell you more about it here in just a second. But the president is done. He's going to come back to Miramar. There'll be remarks. Also, Neil Savidro will talk to us about what do you eat that goes good with tear gas on Santa Monica Boulevard later on today. It is the Gary and Shannon Show. Brian Suits filling in KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk. Monica Ricks with the news.
Santa Monica is getting a new police chief. Cynthia Renault has been the chief in Folsom near Sacramento for the past 7 years, but she started her career in Southern California, having served as the head of the Long Beach Police Department for 2 decades. Renault is expected to start in Santa Monica at the end of April. The Palestinian Prime Minister's convoy has been bombed during his visit to Gaza. The Prime Minister's survived the attack.
Is it me or is Blake getting a little lippy? Should I go in there and remind him how radio works?
Why is he holding that board? Like, did they not have a stand? They have somebody else that can hold it for him?
I think he's going to sign it.
Highest bidder at the border?
Yeah.
Many of them were criminals with criminal records and very dangerous people. You would say dangerous people. And I think the governor's doing a terrible job running the state of California. Hey, I have property in California, I will say. I don't think too much about my property anymore, but I have great property in California. The taxes are way, way out of whack. And
he's just generally denouncing California in general
you don't
now.
have safety, meaning if you don't have this kind of law, the drugs are pouring through in California, can't do it. So the governor of California, nice guy, I think he's a nice guy, I knew him a long time ago, has not done the job. And the taxes are double and triple what they should do. And everybody that lives in California, they know it. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, to your left, everyone. To your left.
Jeff Mason from Reuters again. He's hitting all the points. His campaign promises are all coming back around.
Yeah, they sure are. They really are, and that's one reason why I said earlier the fact that it's true that you've got some competing White House and President Trump stories today. You've got the Tillerson departure, and you've got this trip
He's
that
hitting all
you're
the
just showing the
points.
video of right now. But they
His
are
campaign
connected.
promises
They're
are all
connected
coming
because
back
it's showing the president in many ways returning to the campaign mode that we saw at the rally that he did just on Saturday, and really focusing in on those issues that he cares about, border security in particular, and somebody at the helm in terms of foreign policy who will go ahead and do the things that President Trump wants to do. I think you should tweet more.
Let's get to Blake Berman, Fox Business Network's correspondent, who's live at the White House, covers the White House.
Worthy moments, but that has nothing to do with the policies that he's trying to implement. And I think he's a great man, and all this talk about hating immigrants and hating women and hating minorities is absolutely not true. And she's actually doing things for this country to make it better for everyone.
All right, and so you've got your camera. You're hoping to get a picture?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right, well, good luck to you. Hopefully you'll get him on his way out, because it looks like he was wrapping it up. All right, thank you both. I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, we expect to see more of that as he makes his way up here, wrapping up the visit there to Otay Mesa. He'll go back to Miramar again to pick up Air Force One or Marine One, and then come up here to LA again. We're expecting here in LA around 4 o'clock.
Right, he's going to be here in Los Angeles, heading.
If you didn't hear that, Trump just ripped Jerry Brown and California and the taxes. I wish we had the audio. It was right when we went to commercial. He started ripping. Started ripping California.
I just put a cut in the folder. It's just a few minutes ago, Trump just down at the wall talking about how people in California are begging for a wall.
Yeah, then did you hear him rip Jerry Brown and the taxes?
That's what I'm waiting for to come out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
I almost started YouTube TV in time that I would have had that.
Yeah. Casino wasn't streaming that on the site. And then he says, we gotta have a see-through wall.
walls over here.
He said that.
He wants to see through wall.
Yeah, I know you'd said
or else
that.
You don't know what's on the other side. He's like, that one's great, but you don't know what's on the other side.
So it's Tijuana on the other side.
Yeah.
Who fucking, just as a visual abatement wall, it works.
I just picture whoever built the solid wall is down there all excited.
Yeah. Like, God damn it, Lexan. We don't have Lexan.
But yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get what he said about Brown too.
He said, I know him. I've known him for a long time. He's a nice guy. He's just doing a terrible job.
Oh, is that what he said?
Yeah.
Oh,
he said, why even give him that?
He's a nice guy. I just hate him and he sucks.
He's a dickhead. He's releasing criminals who just killed a police officer.
Maybe they used to party back in the 70s.
Maybe. Me. I like AR pistols. I have an AR pistol. I have a 10-inch barrel 300 blackout AR pistol. So I've got a 30 caliber pistol. And I will defend that all day long for home defense, believe you me. Olympic Arms used to make a great skeletonized little AR pistol. And I think it was called the OA-93. So Google that. Look that up. The Olympic Arms OA-93. It was an amazing little gun. They don't make it anymore. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. It is the Gary and Shannon Show. Brian Suits filling in for Gary and Shannon. So, bottom line, Gina Haspel will cruise through to be the director of the CIA. And within the agency, within OGA, other government agency, she is very popular. And it will be refreshing for them to get somebody who is a long time and operational person, not a complete hack. So sometimes it's great when the president doesn't have time to think about putting whatever Mark Cuban in there or something. So the CIA is going to like that, and that's been an agency that has been beaten down pretty hard for a couple of years. And believe it or not, spies have feelings too. The president just made some remarks there at the Great Concrete Beauty Contest, the wall, and when we get them, we'll play them. We don't have them yet, but at the very end of his remarks, he went on a riff about California, not just about illegal aliens at the border or whatever. He went on a riff about livability, taxes, Jerry Brown, property, everything. And so we'll get that for you. But here's a little bit of what he said about some of the wall prototypes that he was there to inspect.
If you didn't have walls over here, you wouldn't even have a country. You wouldn't even have a country. And by the way, the state of California is begging us to build walls in certain areas. They don't tell you that. And we said, no, we won't do it until we build the whole wall. But there are certain areas, as you know, where they're really wanting us to build a wall. And because the people are complaining, people are pouring in. So, they don't talk about that. Well, I do have a problem. The problem is you have to have see-through. You have to know what's on the other side of the wall. And, I mean, a preference is something like that. The problem is you don't know what's on the other side of the wall.
Why? I mean, why? I mean, there's no see-through hedges. I mean, I don't want to see what's in Tijuana. I don't want to see what they do there. Well, okay. Remember? Yeah, I'm behind. I'm only halfway through that last season. You mean like in World War Z? That would be like a 200-story tower of zombies. I can see transparent panels happening. But that's going to raise the construction cost. It's going to raise the construction cost by 3 more Mexicos and probably extend construction. It'll probably delay construction by like 30 Scaramucci's. So I don't know. If he wants this thing built in only like 20 Scaramucci's for 1 Mexico. So you're suddenly, a Scaramucci is 10 calendar days. So he wants this done in 40 Scaramuccis for one Mexico. And so suddenly making it transparent, you've doubled it to 2 Mexicos and like 50 Scaramuccis. So, but the deal is that they'll look like they're 30 feet and the whole thing, whatever Border Patrol wants to see what's through there, I guess. But remember the catapult? Remember the weed catapult? There's a model, and it's on the internet. You can weld together angle iron into a hanging catapult. And what they were doing a couple of years ago is going up to the wall as it exists right now and hanging it on the wall and then putting bales of marijuana, pulling it down with a spring-loaded marijuana catapult. And they were actually using the wall, and it was disposable. They could leave it behind. And they would sit there, and it was like a trebuchet or a catapult. They would catapult weed over the wall, and it would fling the weed like 40 or 50 feet. But the point is, it would clear the wall and clear the roadway. And so Border Patrol was finding those all over the place. So they want this one on the other side where but if no one in Mexico is enforcing it, you're just going to get a taller ladder and go up there and put your marijuana catapult, or start flinging babies over there. I don't know, or pregnant women. Yeah, I guess, I don't. If I'm the president of the United States, I'm going to defer to the subject matter experts. If I was a Manhattan real estate developer, I'm going to, sit back and say, well, you guys are down here. What do you want? If Border Patrol wants transparent panels, and I guess you put in transparent panels. All right, when we come back, the one thing about a border wall that none of the illegal alien apologists like Gavin Newsom are telling you, why it's humane. I'll tell you about that in just a second. Trump is probably on his way back to Miramar, so we'll take his remarks live. And also Neil Saavedra will come in next hour as well. It is for the Fork Reporter, I should say, in his role, in his guise as Fork Reporter. Brian Suth filling in for Gary and Shannon on the Gary and Shannon Show, KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
People think Southern California is all paparazzi and juice fasts. We know it's doing your taxes, meal prep, and laundry. KFI, the sound of real Southern California.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County, an iHeart radio station.
24-hour news.
More stimulating talk.
Border Wall Watch. I'm Monica Ricks, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. And President Trump is in the San Diego area now, checking out some border wall prototypes.
I do have a preference. The problem is you have to have see-through. You have to know it's on the other side of the wall.
Trump is on a short visit to Southern California now. He says Governor Brown is doing a very poor job of running the state. Trump says California is, as he puts it, totally out of control. He will be speaking at Marine Corps Air Station Miramar to members of the military before heading north to L.A. Trump is expected to go to a fundraiser later tonight in Beverly Hills. California's Attorney General says he is against building walls. Javier Becerra told Fox News that it's a medieval technology that doesn't really have a place in the 21st century.
We know better ways to try to detect people trying to cross our borders, better ways to apprehend them than trying to put up walls that we've seen can be surpassed and don't provide the kind of protection that we need.
California has sued the administration over Trump's wall. Becerra says the administration does not have legal authority to build it, but a federal judge in San Diego ruled last month that the administration can go ahead with construction. President Trump, by the way, is replacing Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. Trump has nominated CIA Director Mike Pompeo to take Tillerson's place. And if confirmed, Pompeo's deputy, Gina Haspel, will become the first woman to lead the CIA. On his way out of D.C. this morning, headed for SoCal, Trump told reporters that part of the choice came down to chemistry.
Whatever it is, why do people get along? I've always, right from the beginning, from day one, I've gotten along well with Mike Pompeo. And frankly, I get along well with Rex, too.
He gave the Iranian nuclear deal as an example of an issue where he and Tillerson disagree. Trump says he wishes Tillerson well and is thankful for his service. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says Trump's dismissal of Tillerson is the latest example of White House chaos that's causing huge problems at home and abroad. Schumer also told reporters that he's disappointed in Tillerson and didn't think he was tough enough on Russia. Well, it sounds like video of the Treasury Secretary at UCLA has been leaked.
Steve Mnuchin tried to make light of the constant hissing from people in the crowd.
Well, let me first say that the only part of this that I understand that you wanted to hiss was my going to Yale. That is completely understandable.
But he was apparently bothered enough by the appearance last month that he withdrew his agreement to post the event online.
You guys get to hiss at me. I don't get to hiss at you. Okay.
Complaints came from students and free speech advocates, and UCLA released it Friday, only saying...
People in California understand that. A lot of people from a lot of other places understand it, and they don't want sanctuary cities. These policies release dangerous criminal offenders to prey on innocent people and nullify the federal law. They're threatening the security and the safety of the people of our country. In the upcoming omnibus budget bill, Congress must fund the border wall and prohibit grants to sanctuary jurisdictions that threaten the security of our country and the people of our country. We must enforce our...
Well, by the way, I'm talking about a an AR pistol, you know, with that arm cuff, which basically is a legal way to have a short barrel rifle. So I am not firing a 300 blackout pistol. Anyone who fires an AR pistol with one hand is a fucking moron. You will never ever hit anything. But if you want to get one of those SIG arm cuffs that look remarkably like a shoulder stock, you basically have a legally obtained short barrel rifle. And I highly recommend you use that shoulder stock as a shoulder stock. I mean, that arm cuff as a shoulder stock.
The cross-border flow of illegal weapons, drugs, people, and cash. I have a great relationship.
And with 300 blackout, by the way, I'm not shooting at anything past 200 meters. Why would I? Why would I ever shoot at anything at 400 meters with a 300 blackout pistol?
He's a very good negotiator.
I am not a moron, so I would not do that.
Working very hard. We'll see.
Trump is now speaking in San Diego. Not at Miramar, though. We'll take the Miramar thing.
You'll see over the next month whether or not it takes place in this administration, meaning his administration. They have an election coming up. They have some very good people running, and they have some that maybe aren't so good. In any event, we'll handle it. I want to again thank everyone for being here today, and I want to again call on Congress to deliver a budget that protects our homeland and properly funds all of our law enforcement needs. I want to thank the Secretary. I want to thank ICE and the Border Patrol agents for their incredible work and their incredible bravery. I want to thank all of law enforcement on the border.
You see that? See that woman? See that female agent?
And if you didn't have even these remnant walls, we call them remnant, they've been here for a long time. People
You see that? She wants to date Blake.
If you didn't have them, you would have...
She wants Blake to try to cross her wall.
Far surpass the numbers that you see today. We've cut down and way down on crossings, border crossings, because of the job that the Border Patrol does. And the ones that get through, we've gotten out. MS-13, we're taking them out by the thousands. But we don't want them here in the first place. We don't want them to come in. So this was really a day where we're looking at different
you want to sneak in the rear.
Some work very well, some don't work so well.
Don't encourage us. We're making really infantile jokes.
The best aren't necessarily the most expensive. Something I like about that ring. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank, frankly, the media for being here. And we'll let the people of our country know that we need safety, we need security at the border, and we're getting it like we've never had it before. But we want to make it perfecto. Thank you all very much, and thank you. Thank you, folks, very much.
Thank you, Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Just quickly, just to thank the President so much for his continued leadership. As he says, CBP and ICE both put their lives on the line every day to protect our country. Prototypes, and we look forward to breaking ground very soon and securing our country. So thank you again to the President for his continued leadership.
Thank you very much.
That's a thing. That's my money spot. It is the Gary and Shannon Show. Brian Suits filling in for Gary and Shannon. They're filling in for Bill Handel on the morning show. And they're trying to get the president to his Osprey. Can we take these remarks on Fox? Oh, no, never mind. He's walking away now. So he finally is going to helo back, or Osprey, back to Miramar Marine Corps Air Station. So we'll take those remarks when he takes them. Also, Neil Saavedra coming in a little later on. Gary and Shannon are filling in for Bill Handel on the Bill Handel Show. And the microsecond of Bill Handel is healed up enough that he can come back to work. He will be here. And I mean, just I guess to describe this, I mean, and I am live streaming the video here at unsheepyourself.com. Granted, we're sitting down in this job, but if you have a bad back, you can't even drive the car. You have a $100,000 car with a massaging heated seat, and just driving to the doctor with a bad back is a very bad scene. When I was a young man, very young, I blew out a disc in my lumbar vertebra, and I couldn't walk upright for like 4 days, and had to fly a puddle jumper plane back to an orthopedic hospital in Seattle, where I went into traction for a week. To make it right. It was terrible, but it healed. I was there for a week. It healed, and I was 22 years old, and I've never had a problem with it since, and I've done some S. So anyway, when the president's back to Miramar, we'll take those remarks. So here's what he did say. As we went away, the president was talking about the wall, that Californians want a wall, and then, of course, because he has no filter, he began riffing on things that are wrong with California and things that Californians have had it up to here with. And also, he takes his swipes at Jerry Brown. Here's Trump just from about 5 minutes ago.
What do you say to criticism from Governor Brown?
Oh, by the way, if you're wondering if more people are going to vote for him in 2020 in California than voted for him in 2016, he can just run this as a commercial.
What do you say to criticism from Governor Brown that some of this money might be better spent elsewhere?
Well, I think Governor Brown's done a very poor job running California. They have the highest taxes in the United States. The place is totally out of control. You have sanctuary cities where you have criminals living in the sanctuary cities. And then the mayor of Oakland goes out and notifies when ICE is going in to pick them up. And many of them were criminals with criminal records and very dangerous people. You would say dangerous people. And I think the governor's doing a terrible job running the state of California. Hey, I have property in California, I will say. I don't think too much about my property anymore, but I have great property in California. The taxes are way, way out of whack.
Ouch!
And people are going to start to move pretty soon. And if you don't have safety, meaning if you don't have this kind of wall, the drugs are pouring through in California. Can't do it. So the governor of California, nice guy.
Whatever.
He's a nice guy. I knew him a long time ago. Has not done the job. And the taxes are double and triple what they should be.
Ouch!
Everybody that lives in California, they know it. Thank you very much.
No. Our governor's having a permanent acid flashback, and his lieutenant governor is dangerously unstable, has very unstable ideas. And also, if you don't know this, Trump goes everywhere now with what he calls the urban chorus. And whenever he makes a great point, like the fact that we're overtaxed, they go,
Yo!
And Trump says,
He. Thank you.
So he's on his way back to Miramar, and so we'll take those. So a couple of things. Here's a fun fact about the wall that's there now. Never mind the Trump wall. The wall that went up over 10 years ago from the Pacific Ocean to the middle of Arizona. There used to be, and don't believe me, believe San Diego County. And the other, I forget the other counties. I'm so sorry. The other border counties across California. But San Diego County and is it Indio County? It doesn't. But regardless, the other border counties that go all the way to the Arizona border, and then the Arizona counties that go halfway across their border east of Nogales, they used to have every July and every August, each county had several dozen dead crossers, dead illegal aliens, dead in the desert. Remember the whole putting water out in the desert thing? and they put the fence up. And what once was a yearly toll of dozens or hundreds from the Pacific Ocean to the middle of Arizona plummeted to virtually nothing. But the county just east of the last part of the improved fence that the Bush administration put up, their dead in the desert skyrocketed, which proved the point. So the control was the U.S.-Mexican border without a fence, men, women, and children dying in the desert. Then you put up the fence, but not all the way, put it just in middle of Arizona, and suddenly deaths due to heat exposure plummet, except for from the end of the fence on. And right there at the end of the fence in Arizona, in that county, they skyrocket. So when your friends who are out there on Santa Monica Boulevard later on today, sucking in tear gas, tell you that it's inhumane to put up a fence, point out that it's inhumane to not have a fence. Because illegal immigrants used to cross right through the open desert when they could. Now they do come through crossing points. They get through, and when they're not camouflaged as a chair or a seat or whatever, so regardless, there's a humanitarian aspect to this. No one in this White House is calling me and asking me about that, but they should be making that point. Because that point, by the way, you make that point to Mexican citizens, which is, sorry, for your own good. This is like invisible fencing for your dog in a way. But so there's that. The president is in the air now. When Neil Saviter comes in, we'll do a fork report, but we might be taking the president's remarks. Then later on, how can you, the Trump-hating Angelino, how can you guarantee that you will be in a Donald Trump re-election commercial in 2019? I will tell you in just a second. It is Brian Suits filling in for the Gary and Shannon Show here on KFI. And you know what I want to do? I want to put $1,000 in your hand. Your chance to win $1,000 is coming up. Brought to you by Cunning Dental. Bleeding gums? Call Cunning Dental for a free exam. 888-640-SMILE, 888-640-SMILE. Keep listening. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. Monica Rick says the news. Ooh, I'm down to 25%. Can't do that. All right, Jim is going to go actually do his job, earn a living.
So Trump's not supposed to talk until 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what it says in the press.
No Trump talk till 2.
Anyway,
there's the Cade.
Corned beef, and tomorrow's Pie Day.
3.14. Yeah.
How about that?
Tom, what a tragic St. Patrick's Day, because Tom Bergen is closed. There's no good Irish places. Why do people tuck their ears under the hat now?
People do that?
Have you seen that?
No, that's stupid.
It's really stupid. Has anyone seen people tucking their ears under the hat?
That seems uncomfortable.
Both ears. It's really stupid.
Both ears, huh? How do you even...
I have the solar charger.
Oh, that's a cool one.
Yep, that's what is it? VMFA. What does it say? 232.
Yeah.
The Red Devils. Yeah. So there used to be 2 of those parked at Burbank every couple of weeks, and the Chief Lachasse, his son is a major in that squadron, and anytime there were F-18s at Burbank, it was because he was popping in for lunch, because they had some other mission. They were some legit mission, cross country flight or whatever, but they would land at Burbank.
They could do that.
Yeah, and sometimes his dad would come to Burbank Airport and have lunch there. They would just have lunch in the little cafes there.
Yeah.
But usually he would pick his son up and they'd go to somewhere in Burbank.
So are there going to be F-18s buzzing the skies today? To keep that airspace clear?
There'll be a NOTAR, a notice to aviators, to clear out of Santa Monica and out of Beverly Hills.
Because last time Obama was in town, I think they had to escort a plane to land at Agua Dulce. It was a little, private plane, and they had to kick him out of the sky.
Joking Joker. So some guy said, "Excuse me, but I randomly found this stream. Can somebody explain what's going on?" Well, let me introduce you to who we are. KFI AM 640 is the #1 radio station in the United States of America, a country on the North American Peninsula, and we have over 1.2 million people listening to this radio station. We have more people listening to this radio station than watch MSNBC and CNBC combined. So we're kind of a big deal. And if I open up that custom shade, you will see Burbank. But I'm not going to, or else I will be backlit. You know, keep in mind, I'm lit. I'm just not backlit. I'm sorry, I came across as a dick, which is why then only 44 views? Well, I've had 72 people watching this for 3 hours, so I don't know. And you know why there's only 44 views? Because this is fucking YouTube, and I'm doing a radio show. Verstehe? Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Sind Sie Deutsche? Sind Sie Amerikanische? Joking Joker 49. I'm talking to you. Wo ist die Hause? Joking Joker, wo ist die Hause? Where do you live? Where's your house? Die Hause. Ja, wo wohnst du? Ich wohne in Los Angeles. Oh, okay. Sehr gut. Schöne Deutschland. Diese Radiostation in Burbank, California. Ich wohne in Antelope Valley. Ich wohne in nördlich Los Angeles. Yeah, go to iHeartRadio.com and then look for that logo. KFI. Radio Funken Los Angeles. Ich war als amerikanischer Soldat nach Grafenwörth, Dexheim, Bad Aibling. So, ich spreche GI-Deutsch, ja. Amerikanische Deutsch. Army-Deutsch. Meine Deutsch ist nicht so gut. Meine Army-Deutsch ist sehr gut. Ich fahre auf den Biergarten. Wo ist der Mädchen? You know, Sie können. Sie können. Schöner Akzent? Ich Akzent? Meine Akzent? Was ist mein Akzent? Ich habe gut Akzent? Oh. Oh, danke. Vielen Dank. Vielen Dank. Ja, wo ist deine Schwester? Ja. Hör zu und sprech nach.
Say what he wants to say.
All right. Es ist die Zeit für meinen Sprecherangriff. Meiner Los Angeles Sprecherangriff ist jetzt. In English. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. It is the Gary and Shannon Show. Brian Sooth filling in for Gary and Shannon. Hey, who wants to win some money? And rule number one, if a number comes in, you don't know what the heck that number is, answer it, because it's probably us trying to give you $1,000. So pick that bad rascal up, won't you please? We're giving away $1,000 an hour between 5 a.m. and 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. I'm live streaming the show on YouTube at unsheepyourself.com. And if you're watching, you just saw the delight of me speaking German to somebody in Germany who's watching KFI stream from Germany. So that happened. Well, if you're just joining us, let me reiterate this. Trump, in some off-the-cuff remarks at Otay Mesa, where they're doing the wall prototype competition, they have them all set up there. He riffed on the wall, you know, the whole thing. He said this about California and the wall.
If you didn't have walls over here, you wouldn't even have a country. You wouldn't even have a country.
He has a point. If you can't control who comes into your sovereign soil, you're not sovereign. You don't have a country. And then he takes his swipes at Jerry Brown and the feckless administration of the state of California to a point now where I'm forgetting the names of the police officers who have been killed by Prop 47 people. And we still don't know the immigration status of the guy who killed a Pomona police officer. His arraignment has been delayed to May 1st. He's been charged. He hasn't been arraigned yet. So anyway, Trump blasts Jerry Brown.
What do you say to criticism from Governor Brown that some of this money might be better spent elsewhere?
Well, I think Governor Brown's done a very poor job running California. They have the highest taxes in the United States. The place is totally out of control.
Mm-hmm.
You have sanctuary cities where you have criminals living in the sanctuary cities. And then the mayor of Oakland goes out and notifies when ICE is going in to pick them up. And many of them were criminals with criminal records and very dangerous people. You would say dangerous people. And no, I think the governor's doing a terrible job running the state of California. You know, hey, I have property in California.
But he is supervising the construction of a over-budget high-speed rail train over the world's most active seismic fault. So he has that going for him. So the other issue that the president is going to deal with, it comes, I think, in about 2 hours. And that would be the issue of Santa Monica Boulevard. We got the word that there are traffic control signs coming out of Santa Monica. That the plan of it, at least, is that he flies Air Force One from Miramar Marine Corps Air Station to Santa Monica Airport, and then was it Steve Gregory who said helicopters from Santa Monica Airport to a facility at the VA. Then he motorcades to the still, as of yet, unknown place or residence where the dinner's going to happen. Now, the guy, Brody, whoever, the Republican National Vice Finance Chair who's sponsoring this, it's my understanding is not his house. Very, very well-heeled Republican fundraiser, but evidently smart enough that he doesn't want this near his house. The Secret Service is assuming maximum crap show. The LAPD is assuming maximum crap show, and for like Sunset and Westwood and that whole area. And so my warning to all of you, as you're gearing up for today's festivities, and you're going to speak truth to Trump, and he's just going to see just how angry you are at Trump. The way to cross the line from cute little protester to extra in a Trump re-election commercial would be to lie down in front of Trump's motorcade and think you're not going to get arrested. and then sit there screaming police brutality or whatever it is you want to scream. But try that one. That always works. It works terrific. So this is going to be on Wilshire. I said Sunset. I meant Wilshire. So he's going to land at the VA, I guess, or the VA on Wilshire on the west side of 405. I'm thinking there wouldn't really be a hell of a lot of point to do it just from Santa Monica Airport to the VA on the west side of 405, and then have to go under on Wilshire. But anyway, regardless, it's going to screw up traffic. How can it not? The rain's coming, but the way to make it into a Trump re-election commercial is to, number one, fly a Mexican flag. Do that one. Go somewhere right now, buy a Mexican flag, wave that. You will be in a re-election commercial that will win the state of Iowa. Lie down in front of his motorcade. Hold up a sign saying Trump equals Hitler. Hold up a sign saying, how about this one? I guarantee you'll be in a commercial if you say, Trump isn't wanted in California, or get out of California. Those are just the minimum things that you can do to be in a Trump re-election commercial. So, I mean, if you're going to screw up everyone else's traffic today, and you're going to inhale tear gas or eat a pepper ball or whatever, then at least make it into a commercial. That's what I'm saying. If you're going to get out there anyway on Wilshire, and you think you're going to impede his motorcade, then make it worth your night in Men's Central Jail. Make it worth your detention or your ticket or that burning, tearing irritation in your eyes. So we'll see. Just seeing the hate that is built up in California for Trump, and this is his first visit. Here's the other thing. I got the word from a man on the inside that because the Secret Service hasn't been forthright with a lot of details, so a lot of this is going to be on the fly. There are Antifa people from the Bay Area that have been road marching, that have been hitchhiking and road tripping down here since last night. That there's a huge contingent of Berkeley Antifa who are down in Westwood who want to make this a spontaneous night of rage. So stand by. You think this is just going to be a normal presidential visit? We got spoiled. 8 years of Bush, 8 years of Obama. This is not like a regular visit. Trump has made people crazy enough to scrape together their pocket change and drive down to L.A. from Berkeley. So it's on. It is going to be on the second he lands in Santa Monica. We'll be back right after this. Brian's filling in for the Gary and Shannon Show. They're filling in ably for Bill Handel. KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk. Monica Ricks with the news.
Bad weather. President Trump is replacing the Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson.
Wo ist meine Freunde? Wo ist die Deutsche? Sind Sie here? Oh, there you are. Yeah, and also they are, the disarray in Santa Monica is going to be crazy. Because like I just said on the air, there's a lot of Antifa who have come down here from the Bay Area. Oh, right when Neil walks in, the battery's dying.
It's because I've got a magnetic personality.
All right. Well, I got to end the broadcast because the battery's dying.
It is the end of the show, so I've been on for 3